Live streaming isn't available right now.
Oof.
No?
Yeah, it's not up.
Hold on. It's not.
All right, we're good.
Oh, it's up?
Yeah, I'm just verifying on my side because I'm not seeing it in studio. It's not loading up for me.
Wait, Gusto, you said we're up though?
Yep.
Oh, all right, should we start?
Really? Because I don't see it in YouTube Studio.
I'm watching it.
Let me
Well,
Yeah, it says watching. Yeah, it's up.
all right, then do it. I'll figure this out on my end.
Okay, dokes. All right, UFC Vegas 45 has come and gone. Chris Daukaus versus Derrick Lewis. We had 13 fights, 10 finishes, which I believe Dana said was the second most, or third most in UFC history or something.
Wow.
And then like the most was like 11, and I think that happened twice. I forgot which cards they were. So a lot of finishes, obviously, which is good. Um, we'll start from the big boys at the top. Derrick Lewis, Chris Daukaus. So with our previews, we said, well, again, so to reiterate what the lines were, we had Chris Daukaus was a slight favorite, minus 140. Derrick Lewis was at plus 120. I had said Daukaus, but not with a lot of confidence. Andrew had said Lewis. I don't remember what your confidence level was, but you said Lewis. And Andrew, you were right. So, and this is exactly what happened. Is why I was saying Chris Daukaus, but not with a lot of confidence, because once if Derek starts landing, that's pretty much GG. And it was pretty much a kind of a different approach from Derek. He was actually patient, and then he started going at Daukaus, which was, I guess, him taking it more seriously. He was saying he's in a better state of mind. He was more focused. He likes the apex, and kind of reflected in that performance.
Absolutely, it did, man. Like, so for me, it pretty much went down the way I thought it was gonna go down. I figured that he would have to corner Daukaus. He did, and I really want to jump into the weeds of where my head is at right now because it's been bothering me. Watching Lewis fight Daukaus makes me think what happened during that Gone fight, because I was screaming at the TV. He had so many chances like that were very similar. He had gone up against the cage. He had gone locked up, physically locked up. He could have just started wailing on him, but none of that materialized in that fight. He just kept letting the guy go. So to see him do what he did to Chris Daukaus, who is arguably, not inarguably, moving up the heavyweight rankings towards a potential title fight, it it gets my brain going. What happened there? Is it
He
just
said it
gone
was the
scares
pressure.
people?
He was saying he felt a lot of pressure given
Well,
that it was in Houston.
well,
So
not even that. Honestly, if you look at the weight differences, right, you have Derek Lewis and Cyril Gahn who are pretty close in weight.
mhm.
But then you look at Chris Daukaus, he weighed in 30 pounds under Derek Lewis.
Yeah,
Derek Lewis just went to town on him. That's it. Because with Gahn, he couldn't hold him on the fence like that. With Daukaus, you got a 30-pound weight difference. You can hold this guy up to the fence. And honestly, I think that's what happened. Daukaus was just a smaller man coming into it. I think he's got to go light heavy. I mean, we'll get there later, but I think it was a big weight. The weight difference is what showed up here. I mean,
Well,
first round KO for Lewis because of that.
it's interesting that you bring that up because if I don't know if you guys saw the interview that he did once he was in the ESPN studio or the UFC studio or whatever.
he being who,
Um,
Derek?
Derek, sorry, yeah, he was saying that he feels like he needs to lose weight. I think it was during that interview. He was saying that he thinks he needs to lose weight and focus
He's
on
been
that.
saying
So
that.
yeah, of course, man. But I mean, like, it's clearly it's in his head. It's prescient. He knows that. And then I loved how he was mentioning how like he's like, don't give me none of that 5 round bullshit. Just give me the 3 rounders.
And he's been saying that too. He doesn't want it. I get why he's saying it because he has to prepare for a 5 rounder in the event that actually goes 5 round. It's just
He's
with
done
him,
it.
it's highly likely it won't. Like the one exception I can think of off the top of my head was when he fought Francis, and I can't remember if that was a main event or if that was a 3 rounder. Francis,
I
right?
think it was a 3 rounder.
It was a 3 rounder. Yeah. Okay. So
Yep.
And then before that, he fought Latifi. That went to decision. And that was his longest fight prior to the Gane fight. Gane fight was almost 3 rounds. So
I think he took 4 rounds. Yeah, go ahead.
But more rounds against who?
Shamil Abdurakhimov, Mark Hunt.
Yeah, I mean it was a while ago, but he's definitely done it before. I don't know what his weight was like, 4-5 years ago at that point, but for Shamil it would have been 6. No, 5. 6?
5.
5.
Yeah, a little over 5 now. Yeah, so I mean obviously he can do it. It's just a matter of he doesn't want to. Yes, Armand, that is Pusta. We found the stray Michigander. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Look, I was happy to see this because I was kind of worried because he looked pretty bad against Cyril. Derrick did, and he's such a likable dude. So I don't want to seem like down in the dumps, and he seemed like it. Something we were saying though, Andrew, when we did our preview was like I hadn't heard from him. It seemed like he had gone dark. That was incorrect. I actually went on his Instagram. He had been posting stuff after, kind of back to normal. He just, I guess, the interviews. At least I didn't find any interviews, so maybe that on that regards he wasn't doing much of those. But I mean, again, yeah, it seemed like he was back to normal. And again, Daukaus, while Daukaus was for ranking spots.
Look right there. Look at the video. Look at the video. He's got him. Did you see
that? Are we gonna get canned for this right now? No, we're still up.
I don't know, but it's not my fault. It's ESPN's showing it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, right there, Gane was doing what Lewis should be doing, and what Lewis was doing yesterday. Again, see, Gane's in the middle. Gane's pushing him back, like you were saying, Andrew. So,
yeah, but then look, this happened several times during this fight. Lewis had moments where he had gone cornered. Right here, boom. Okay, where is it? Push off and just start wailing on the guy. That's your entire MO, dude. Why are you locking him up? Anyways, yeah, before we get in trouble.
Yeah, so I mean, I think this is a good sign for him in terms of, you didn't lose to someone 4 rankings below you. You maintained that number 3. And again, that was a guy that was looking pretty good in his 4 previous fights, that being Chris Daukaus. And again, I don't want to completely diminish Daukaus either in this fight. It was going fine until it wasn't. And I think that's what he said too in the post-fight. I think they were both it was a measured approach by both. I think that makes a lot more sense for Chris, given that he also conceded Derrick is the bigger guy. Derrick's the more powerful guy. And I know he can put anyone's lights out with one touch. So I thought the measured approach wasn't a bad one. He was chipping away at the leg. You see there he had 3 shots to the leg. I didn't think it was a bad approach. It's just Derrick was, from the get-go, maintaining the octagon. So I think that may have also played a factor. And given that it's at the apex, smaller octagon, 2 really big bodies, Derrick takes 1 step towards you, you're already against the fence. So now I'm curious, bigger octagon would have maybe panned out a little differently, possibly. But that goes to show why Derrick likes the apex.
And to be honest, coming into this, I didn't think Derrick Lewis would take it. I didn't even think about the weight difference that much because initially I thought Daukaus was weighed 250, weighed in at 230. But coming into it, I was
he doesn't look like he's 230.
Coming into it, though, honestly, I was like, dude, where's Derrick Lewis going to go after this if he loses? Because I'm thinking, okay, well, John Jones is going to come back. He's probably going to fight the winner of Gane versus Francis, right? And then you got Stipe roaming around waiting for his next fight next year, right? So then who's he going to fight? People are saying now that Derrick Lewis won, he's going to fight Stipe. But I was wondering, I was like, man, what is Derrick Lewis? He's just going to be a gatekeeper. But regardless, I think he's going to be a gatekeeper. He's not going to hold the belt. He already lost against Gane. He could get a second matchup, sure. But then are they going to give him John Jones if John Jones versus the winner of Gane versus Ngannou? And then where Stipe going to go? Stipe deserves a shot too. I like where heavyweight's going. You got a lot of guys. You got Tom Aspinall coming up. Look at that, number 10. Tied to Ivasa. Volkov wants a rematch against Derrick Lewis, so that could be interesting. A lot of interesting stuff, man.
Volkov wants any part of that, man.
I think he does. They were saying, I think it was Volkov that said he wants a rematch.
I know, but I'm saying maybe he should possibly rewatch the ending of that fight. It was rough. I mean, he was actually doing fine in that fight too. Volkov was, and again, that's the thing with Derrick. It's going well until it isn't. He's one of those guys, and there's a couple of them. Francis, you could throw in there too, where. And it's really mostly the heavies that you can say this to. Well, I'm sure there's some exceptions, but where it's they could be getting their ass handed to them for 14 and a half minutes. And then just out of nowhere, if they just land a shot on you, you're done. And that's why it's hard to bet against Derrick Lewis. It's easier to kind of bet on him, but to bet against him is kind of tricky because it's like the Curtis Blades one. Lewis was plus 300. I was like, dude, that's nuts. And then we all, I think, actually, except Andrew, put on Derrick, and I think Andrew took Curtis, and then we all hit. And he was also losing that fight against Curtis. Curtis was dominating it. Not that, I don't say dominating it, but Curtis was in control. And then Derrick just throws that uppercut. And then for a second, you don't know what happened. And then you just see stiff Curtis just going down. And it's like, oh, he died.
Well, they were showing the highlights of that, and it was like he landed that uppercut, and it didn't even look like it landed. It was like they were in the clinch. Curtis's head was down, going for the takedown. And you're like, what the? He just fell.
The commentators didn't realize until Curtis was on the ground because they were still kind of talking through it. And then you just see Blades is down. Takes like one or two more hammer fists from Derrick.
Yeah, dude. Gnarly hammer fists. The way he just like went catatonic and his body like went into rigor mortis, I thought he died.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think what you were saying, Pusta, about, Derrick's trajectory or future kind of, it's tricky for me to get a gauge on it is because I think Derrick is one of those guys kind of like Nate where like his interviews and stuff, he's genuinely being himself. Like, I don't think there's really much to read into it. So when he says something, I'm like, okay, that's what I'm taking it for. Like, I don't think he says, like, oh, I'm feeling really good because he's not feeling really good. Like, I think he's pretty candid. He might reveal it after the fact. Oh, yeah, my back was hurting, or there was too much pressure on me, whatever. So he's like, I don't want to do 5-rounders, right? We discussed that. And then he's like, if you want to do a 3-round title fight, let me know. Otherwise, don't call me. Now, I'm sure if they give him the money for a 5-rounder, he's not going to say no. But he's not one of those like overly, to me, doesn't come across as like overly ambitious for wanting a belt. He said he'd like to fight for the belt again, but like if he doesn't, I don't think he's gonna be all ho hum about it. And he's not gonna
paid pretty handsomely for heavyweight.
The guy's just fighting to fight.
Yeah, well, like you said, the way he interviews, he's so casual. Even the way he interviews, the way he goes through the press conferences, everything. He's just there. He's going through the rounds. Like he said, he's like, I'm just going on vacation after this. I ain't got no plans, right? He's going to Jamaica or whatever.
Yeah, he's there asking about his availability in case something happens. Yeah. Lewis is like, no, I'm in Jamaica.
and then how it's so funny the comment that he made about like how he's saying everyone's juiced or on roids or whatever. And he's like, this is all from chicken. I was like, oh,
yeah, I funny. Love the not so subtle shade towards John. Yeah.
And he's right though. I mean, I forgot who else is on that list. I think Vitor Belfort's on that knockout list. That guy was juiced through the gills. I can't remember if Anderson Silva was on there, but Silva was caught. John Jones may have been on there. John's been caught. So he's not wrong. Now he's number one with not tied with anyone, and he hasn't been caught. And he doesn't look like someone that takes anything besides, like he said, Popeyes. So I don't know, man. I mean, we focused a lot on Derrick. I still think Chris I think has good potential. Pusta, you were saying something about light heavyweight. That I wasn't really thinking about.
Well, if you think about it, because Chris Daukaus weighed in around 230 for this fight, 234 or something like that?
Something like that.
That's not that crazy far off from light heavyweight, right? You're right in between two divisions. If you went to light heavy, I think the dude could be a stud there. I mean, if you look at the rankings at light heavyweight, he could work his way up there. Anthony Smith, not that hard. Thiago Santos, he could work right through him. He's obviously got to make the weight, and that's pretty hard for a dude of his built like him, a beast, but I don't know. I think that's a good possibility for the future if he could find his way there with his boxing.
He might, maybe he considers it in the event, like if he loses another one, because he even conceded that his power isn't up there with some of those guys in the heavyweight. So, which I appreciate him, being candid in that regards. So, I mean, I think he might consider that more like if he sees he's struggling to hang. Because we've seen the transition from other people doing that, not just from heavy to light or light to heavy, from like middleweight to welter, welter to middleweight. You've seen Masvidal move up. We're going to see Poirier most likely move up. We've seen Till move up from 170 to 185. So we see the movement or people going down. So many people do this. And usually I think it's a matter of like how they feel their body feels and also how they feel their performances. So this loss might put that in his mind, like, all right, if I get pummeled like this one more time, maybe I consider it. Because again, like you said, since he's in between light and heavy, I don't think it'll be like that impossible. And I think he could be competitive. I mean, the guy's got a black belt in jiu-jitsu too, which I had forgotten about until they said it again. He didn't use it, but he has that too, so that could maybe help him out down there.
Also, to be fair though, I mean, like if he's saying that he doesn't have the power, like the same power as some of the guys in the heavyweight division, but like look at his record.
Yeah, but again, look at who he fought though: Parker Porter, Nascimento, Olenek. These are guys where I think his power was more comparable to. And like I don't think he was saying like I got nothing compared to some of these guys. But when you put him in a vein with like Derrick Lewis and Francis, probably even John maybe, I think he meant more along that line versus like, oh yeah, I have no power to put up against any of these. He for sure does. I mean, again, look at that: 12 wins, 11 are by knockout. So he's not he's not a sissy, but.
It also goes both ways, right? It's the power that you're giving and receiving. If you go light heavy, you're getting less power than like Derrick Lewis coming out of heavyweight, right? Where this dude is a one-hit KO every single fight. I mean, it's something to think about. You know, I heard some people talking about, actually, I think MMA Junkie was talking about, could he be going down in weight? Because you never know. He might not crack into the top of the heavyweights there with everyone weighing a solid 260. You know what I mean? You got Francis gone, and then John Jones coming through, Stipe. I mean, Stipe is kind of like a Daukaus. That would be a nice matchup, but there's no way he can keep up on the fence with a Ngannou or John Jones.
Stipe's weight was actually comparable to what Daukaus weighed in
right.
the other day, but there's obviously a clear difference in the body. Stipe is like a lean 230. When he came in against Francis, that was I think the lowest he had ever weighed in at, but he was super lean. And then you look at Chris, like he had like a clear belly hanging over the pants. So it's also how they get to that. There's obviously a much cleaner 230 that he could be at. So yeah, I mean, I think the door's up.
I mean, maybe what he could do is go work at the same fire station that Stipe works at, right? Get that.
It's in Ohio. Let's go.
Yeah, get that physical training in. And he'll be in shape. He'll be cut, looking like no fat, nothing, and then there you go.
Did you guys see that video that Stipe put like yesterday or a couple?
Yeah.
No.
Andrew, you probably didn't see this, but he's like, it was a TikTok or Instagram video. I don't know what. He's at a fire. He's got the video. He's like, this is my hands are the camera. I'm Stipe, and then like where my curtains are, there's a burning house. And
Jesus.
I don't know what he was saying, but he was like smiling, and I'm like, you're making a TikTok and there's a house burning behind you.
No, it was a training.
Oh, it was a training. Is that what he was saying? Okay.
Yeah, because
it's hard to understand what Stipe says sometimes.
Can you imagine coming to your house, dude? Just like, Stipe, get to work, please.
I saw a funny comment like, there's a family burning, and he's taking a video. I'm like, that's rough. But he was saying like, oh, this is my current training session or something like that.
I mean, it makes sense. You can do training like that in Cleveland. A lot of those houses you can just burn down. No one cares.
Cleveland, Detroit, that whole region, just burn it all down.
It's the ideal spot for something like that. But yeah, so those are our big boys. Those are the main events. You guys have any parting thoughts on them, their trajectories, any surprises, disappointments, whatever else?
There's not much. I mean, we talked about coming into it, right? Because, I mean, you're talking about a 3-minute fight. We didn't really have that much to go off of. Total 24 strikes landed, and some of those were knockouts. So, yeah, I don't have much final thoughts there.
I'm really happy. And if I could, I would do one of those Derrick Lewis moves right now and show everybody on camera how happy I am.
Oh, actually, one last thing. There was I sent this to Pusta, but Andrew, there was a guy that did I forgot, like a 6-7 leg parlay or something. He risked 10,000, and it was between UFC and football. I think there was.
He had the Colts. He took the Colts over the.
So again, it was like 6 or 7 legs. It was 10,000 risk to win 300 something thousand, and he lost because he had bet on Daukaus. He hit everything else, and I was telling Pusa, I'm like, dude, that sucks because had he bet on Lewis, not only would he have cashed, he would have also cashed more because Lewis was a slight dog too. I was like,
yeah, we'll get to it. We'll get to it later, but he also had Lemos on his card, so
yeah.
He had a little bit of. He already used his luck.
That's true.
That last fight.
That's a fair point. We'll jump into that too. All right, so those are our big boys. Now we're gonna segue to the co-main. Stephen Wonderboy Thomas versus Belal. Remember the name Muhammad.
All of that shit talking.
Hey, you
all
still
that
lost
shit.
your parlay.
I don't care. But the point is that like you need to take back all the shit talking you were doing, man.
No, absolutely not. I still stand by everything I've said about Belal. I don't like him, and I don't think he's got I don't think he's gonna do anything in this division. But where I
Do,
will,
do you have like stock in the idea for something?
well,
What's
what I was
going
gonna
on?
say is like I'm not gonna like dismiss his performance. He did do a good job against Wonderboy. Like I'm not with I was seeing like people saying, oh, it was lay and pray. He just like it was a wet
No,
towel on him.
no, it
No, I
was
mean he
not.
was working. I mean, look, he had 171 total strikes, and then kind of extrapolate it was 58 significant because a lot of those that he was hitting Belal OP. Yeah, good, nice trolling, Chris. Because what was that ending round one, right? Belal was going to town. He had Thompson flattened out, and he was hammering. Well, I shouldn't even say hammering. He
Yeah,
was connecting a lot. But again,
and
I
round
think
one.
that was good officiating by, was it Herb? Who was officiating that fight?
I think it was
I
her.
think it was Irvin.
I think that was good because again, he was landing a lot, but Wonder Boy had his entire head covered. Most of those were connecting to the gloves, so I'm glad. And he didn't even assign a warning, which I was glad that he kind of let it play out how he did.
We've seen stoppages though, like so that
Which
throw
I
you for a
usually
loop.
don't necessarily agree with when it's just
Same.
like going at it. So I think that was good to let that play out. But I mean, Bilal did a phenomenal job completely neutralizing Wonder Boy. I mean, the only moments where Wonder Boy was looking kind of like himself was the very beginning of the fight, the very
Yeah,
beginning of the first round. We saw him throwing a couple kicks, some of them landed, and that was it. And that was all he did. The rest was all Bilal.
Yeah, the Kimura that Bilal had up on the
Oh yeah.
cage, man, that's so unfortunate because it was there. It was there, and then Thompson had the state of mind to be able to get over there so that he doesn't have the room to actually fully extend the arm. But damn, dude, I was so nervous watching that because I thought I was gonna hit that parlay and
I was
jump out of my
surprised too
freaking
because
house.
again, we talked about it in our previews. 20-3, very nice record. I'm not taking anything away from his record. But of the 20 wins, you've got 5 finishes. That I don't think is as nice of a translation. Now, I'm not saying that to like take away anything from his ability or anything, but it was just surprising seeing that there was a couple moments that it was looking like he might actually finish Wonder Boy. And that would have been a surprise to me, given, right there, we've seen like
right,
what is that, a 25%
man.
finish rate.
Yeah, I have a lot to say, but man, that's crazy. Just like you guys were bantering when you first started talking about this, it's just Bilal's not an exciting fighter. Like you said, out of 20 fights, 20 wins, he had 5 finishes. But the thing is he talks a lot for 5 finishes. You know what I
That's what I
mean?
don't like. That's the
Yeah,
main reason
Right,
I don't like him. He talks
right. He's
that
on
the
the
call out
analyst
of
booth,
Kamaru, all this
Twitter.
other stuff is like, dude,
yeah,
come
no,
on.
dude. You have no room to call out Usman right now, man. Like I like Bilal as a
Yeah,
fighter, but that kind of like that haughtiness, I don't know. I think it's undeserved. Like dude, you need to
yeah.
keep going a little bit, and then maybe, possibly.
That's what annoys me
Honestly,
with
this
fighters where they come and they ask and they demand and say all this stuff. It's like, wait, dude, who are you?
I wouldn't mind seeing them rewind the tape on the Edwards fight.
No, I
Like
don't.
that,
I don't mind that at all. I know
or
Leon's
no,
going to
but
say
could
no,
you
but I don't think
imagine?
he's saying that.
So let's think about some other things, right? So you obviously have Stephen Thompson taking this a different angle. Who was his last fight? Gilbert Burns, right? Lost pretty bad to Gilbert Burns. Similar
Mm-hmm.
fashion, right? You
Mm-hmm.
got a thick what are they, welterweights or what's the weight class?
Yeah, they're welterweights.
So you got the welterweight, right? You got a big welterweight in Gilbert Burns. He comes in, does ground and pound, right? Takes him down, whatever. And then you have the same thing again with Belal. When the crazy thing is everyone knew this was going to happen. What does Belal have besides ground game? Almost nothing. His boxing's getting better, sure, but it's nothing where he could stand up with Stephen Thompson for 15 minutes. So Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. But man, I didn't think it would go this route. I had Thompson like a fun parlay, whatever, but I didn't expect it to go anywhere, but man, I really didn't expect, what is it, 12 minutes of control time for Bilal. So like think about this, how this division's going, right? You got Belal Muhammad who's basically doing 10 minutes of control time on a guy every fight. You got Gilbert Burns doing similar. And then guess who else you got doing the same? Hamzat who's coming through, right? So this division is just going crazy, man. These thick boys just coming in, dropping everyone. I mean, this division is going crazy, man. This has got to be my favorite division right now.
uh,
Yeah, it's a fun division, but I think so. Kind of going with that Wonder Boy angle you were just saying. So I think he's done.
oh
Uh,
yeah,
I'm
Yeah,
not saying like by done, I don't necessarily mean like they'll release him, but I think
yeah.
that's if he was gonna make any kind of run, he had to
is
have won this
happening?
fight. You're fighting a guy 5
Yeah.
ranks below you, and I give him credit because, like you alluded to, Andrew, he clearly struggled against Gilbert. He didn't do anything, and then they give him a similar, not a jiu-jitsu background guy, but a guy that will wrestle you, that'll grapple you. They give him one more time right back, and he takes it. So I credit that. And this was why he was my pick, and I wasn't like we talked about it in our preview. The line was pretty inflated in favor of Thompson, so I didn't agree with the line. But I was thinking Thompson would win, not because he showed anything against Burns, but I figured he'll make adjustments accordingly to prep for, because you're not going to get surprised by what Muhammad just did. That's like you were saying, what everyone expected, what Thompson expected, what Thompson's camp expected, and what Belal knew he was going to do, and he still did nothing. He couldn't mitigate it whatsoever. Entering the Burns fight, Thompson had a pretty good takedown defense. Burns completely demolished that, and then Belal, not only did Belal overtake what Gilbert did in terms of takedowns landed, Belal got a career high in number of takedowns landed, and against Wonderboy. So it's unfortunate. I know people like Wonderboy. He's fun to watch when he's doing his thing. We saw a very small sample size again yesterday in the beginning. Those kicks, everything is so fun to see because we don't have a lot of guys in the UFC that are like that. But also at the same time, when you're fighting someone with a contrasting style, you got to be able to mitigate them somehow. And at this stage of his career, the last 2 fights, he's shown he can hang, at least not with 2 of the top.
Yeah.
Belal's below him. Gilbert was above him, about. So
yeah,
he hasn't been shown. He hasn't shown that he can hang. So I think that's about it for him.
And no, you're totally right, because before the Gilbert Burns, he had over 80% takedown defense.
There you go.
After it was around 70, and now post Belal, it's going to be under 70 in the 60s, if not lower, for his entire career. And it's like the karate stance isn't really. They figured out the karate stance, right? You had GSP before him, who Wonderboy used to train with GSP back when GSP was in the UFC or fighting for the UFC, and now it's like, all right, it appears that they figured out the karate stance. I know Connor abandoned that a while ago, and now it's just Wonderboy really doing work with it in the rankings, and the takedown defense isn't there anymore. So it's like, all right, where's he going to go from here? And in the press conferences, he was saying he's going to fight as long as he can. He just signed a new UFC contract. And then now if I was Dana White, I'll just throw my hands up and be like, all right, what am I going to do with this guy? He can be a gatekeeper, but for a striker, he's not going to fight any Colbys or anyone like that. You know what I mean? Like, he can't take anyone with wrestling game because he's just going to get taken down.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for Thompson, he's 2-4. And again, he's not fighting clowns. He's fighting good competition. He lost to Darren Till and Anthony Pettis, respectively, and then he beats Luque and Jeff Neal, and now he's lost to Burns and Muhammad. So he's fighting the top dudes every time because he's a top dude as well. So, again, it's not like he's just losing to chumps, but you're 38. He's 38. He's going to be 39 in a couple of months. He physically looks fine. Like, I don't think he's one of those dudes that looks like he's struggling or whatever. But, I mean, again, if we look at the rankings for welterweight, so he was 5. So anyone above him, it doesn't matter. He already fought Masvidal. He beat him. Okay, what, you're going to do Neil Magny? Or you're going to do Sean? Well, he can't fight Sean Brady. Sean Brady's going to do the same thing that Belal and Gilbert Burns did to him.
It's going to be worse.
Michael Chiesa is going to do the same thing, or he's going to try to do the same thing. And now at that point, we're already at Hamza. So who do you face? Who do you put him against?
Well,
I don't even know.
You know what would be fun? Wonderboy beat Luque.
Again?
No, let's see it again. You know what I mean? Luque's not doing much. I'm sure he wants to fight. Give him Wonderboy. I mean, I don't know who you're going to give Luque, right? You got Edwards.
I'm sure he'd want to avenge that loss, but I don't know.
I want to see Luque and Covington, personally.
That would be nice. But we already have Hamzat versus Colby in the works. So, Okay, now you got Luque just sitting there. Who's Gilbert Burns? Maybe Gilbert Burns. I don't know. But Luque versus Wonderboy, I'm sure, like you said, I'm sure he wants to avenge that loss. That would be a fun fight, honestly. That'd be.
I do think it'll be a more fun fight because Luque is one of those guys. This is what I like about Luque. Luque has the ability to do stuff on the ground. We've seen his last couple of finishes, but he's also when there was that very brief period of time where they were talking Luque and Nate Diaz. Luque was saying, like, dude, I won't even take you down. Let's just straight up stand up and go. So he'll do that. Like, I'm not, I like that. It might not always be the smartest approach, but I think if he knows, okay, like the last 2 fights, they've just been ragdolling Thompson on the ground. I could do that too, but I'll make it fun. I'll stand up and I'll go with him.
Yeah.
I don't know if they run that back now, because kind of like you were saying, Pusa, like I think at this point Thompson plays the gatekeeping role, and I think Luke's already passed the gate. He's not on the other. He's on the other side of the gate, so he doesn't have to go through anything. He's already gone through it.
Right.
So,
I mean, the only reason I bring it up, like you said, Luke's down for any brawl of a fight. If he's gonna take Nate Diaz, dude hasn't been ranked in how many years?
Yeah, but that's a money fight.
Yeah, true. But still, I mean, a Wonder Boy is a good money fight too. You know what I mean?
Is it?
I guess
though?
neither of them are
It's
big.
not
names
nearly
like
the
Nate
same draw, man. I mean, I know Wonder Boy for sure has a following, but like we're talking about a Diaz versus a guy from South Carolina that a lot of people aren't aware of. Nate Diaz, even non-UFC watchers, non-MMA watchers might know what that name is. Stephen Thompson, they might think is there's the CPA down the street or something. He even looks like it too. So I don't know about that. I mean, again, I'm not saying get rid of Thompson. I think he still has talent in him, but you can't match him up against these guys anymore. It's just not. Like I was saying in the preview, like I'm not really looking forward to this fight that much. I didn't care for that fight that much, but I also don't want to take away from what Belal did. It was very impressive. It was just so one-sided that I was just like, all right.
Well, so since we're just real quick, let me say that it's not like the control time was control time for the sake of it. Sometimes we'll see these guys get the other fighter to the ground and they'll just sit there, and that's when you hear the crowd going like whoo whoo, whatever the hell that sound is. But this was like active submission attempt seeking. Like there was no lull in activity from Belal either. Like he was just going for it the entire time. So, it was very decisive. Which I think I said that it needs to be decisive. I don't think I said I don't think he needs to finish, but he needs to win decisively, which he did because, Jesus, I'm having trouble with the browser right now, but that freaking score, where is it? How do I
click on Belal's name? There you go. Yep, right there.
The should be just
freaking scoring, man. There was a 30-25 in there,
which I don't think is a stretch, to be honest.
No, but I'll say a few things. So when you started to describe the fight, you said it was a good performance by Belal. Honestly, it's probably one of his best, to be honest, and someone like Stephen Thompson. So this was a great performance by Belal. I'm not a big fan of his, just by who he is and how he acts, but this was his best performance. Dude is going to be in the rankings for a while if he can keep this up. He has to obviously improve his striking, but that was fantastic on his part. And then if we look through the scorecard, I mean, going through, let's see if we can find a scorecard anywhere near this. I mean, obviously a lot of them were knockouts, but still, or subs, but still, like I haven't seen a scorecard haven't seen a 30-25 in a while,
Oh yeah.
The last one I can remember, I think, was Tim Elliott.
Yeah.
There may have been another one, but at least for a 3-rounder, that's the last one I can remember. I think when Amanda Nunes fought Felicia Spencer, I think there was like a 50-42, which honestly you could argue that fight should have been 50-40. So for a 5-rounder, that's like the most egregious I remember. But yeah, 30-25, there hasn't been one that I can think of for a little bit of time. And again, while Wonder Boy's MO is not the ground game, he still had shown ability to stuff it. So to completely get rid of that, 7 for 9 on takedowns, you're doing better than 80% on I think that's better than 80, whatever, about 80%, a little bit better than 80% on landing takedowns. Yeah, definitely, and especially again after how Belal did against Damian Maia, who was like 49, whatever the hell he is, and it was very boring, very unimpressive. He fought now another older guy again, but not the same kind of older guy. So I think it was good to see that fight over fight improvement in what he was doing and in the dominance. We kind of talked about Wonder Boy and what may or may not happen with him going forward. So for Muhammad now, so he was 10 entering this fight, number 10 entering this fight. He's for sure going to leapfrog Michael Chiesa because Chiesa just lost. Sean Brady, I don't know if they put him over Sean Brady because Brady beat Chiesa. And then you have Neil. Like, he's not going to leapfrog anyone here. Like, I don't think we're going to see him crack the top 5. I don't think this warrants that. I understand Wonder Boy is top 5, but I don't think he should, like, swap spots with him. So if we look immediately above
swap with Masvidal. Why is Masvidal ranked 6?
I don't know. I don't understand that either. So yeah, so we have it pulled up here now. So you have Chiesa, Brady, Magny, and Masvidal ahead of him, and then you have Thompson. I don't think he should be fighting anyone in the top 5 except Leon, and the only reason is obviously the way the first fight went. I would be interested to see, honestly, Belal versus Sean Brady, because both guys have that ability on the ground. It might not be the most fun fight in terms of like, if they're both trying to go to the ground, it's not working out. It might possibly be a little snooze fest there. But then we might end up seeing they both try and do stand-up. So who knows? I think that matchup-wise could be interesting. But outside of that, like, Neil Magny is also one of those guys where, like, I'm kind of like, whatever, when I watch him. I don't care too much. He's not going to fight Masvidal. And I don't think he fights Luque. And then at that point, you're already looking at top 3. So the only person, again, like I said, the top is going to be Leon. And outside of that, I don't really see anything else for him. Outside of maybe Sean Brady, maybe Neil Magny. You're definitely not fighting Gamrot right now. So that's what I see.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think of where we're at right now, right? Obviously, Masvidal's injured, but he wants a pretty early fight in the new year. So he wants a January, February fight. Gilbert Burns has been inactive for a minute. Luque, yeah, he fought Chiesa, but he wants to fight too, right? He even weighed in for the Colby versus Usman fight.
Unsuccessful.
Yeah. I mean, regardless, they both weighed in before him and they were successful, so I don't think he had to cut weight that well. But I don't know. You think of who's out there that wants to fight right now. Burns, Luque, maybe Hamzat, but Hamzat versus Colby's in the works. So I don't know. It seems pretty interesting. Maybe Sean Brady, like you said, that'd be a great fight. You're right, because Sean Brady just wants to take him to the ground. Belal tries to strike a little bit, then take him to the ground. So that would be fun.
And then our question when we did our preview was, regardless of winner, does this clarify anything for the welterweight division? I think the answer seems like it's no.
No,
I just want to make sure. So this is unrelated, but I want to make sure that because my audio is coming in from.
Belal's going to get nowhere near the title. I don't think he deserves a shot. There's like 4 guys ahead of him.
Your audio sounds
Wonder Boy.
You guys can hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Yeah, I don't know. Wonder Boy. That's a
big. Can you hear me?
See where Sean Shelby takes that, but.
Oh, maybe not. Pusa, can you hear Andrew?
Can you hear me talking to you?
I don't think you can hear any of us. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, you can't hear me? Oh, can you hear Andrew?
Yo.
No.
It's on can't hear me?
It's like, no, I don't really care.
That's
weird. I see him lagging around a little bit, but it's a fun division, man. I mean, you got Hamzat flying through the rankings, right? He's everyone under him, dude, probably knocked out or is trying to knock out. Everyone above him, he's trying to knock out. It's a fun division, man. I like welterweight.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
The problem is Wonder Boy now. Where does he go? You know what I mean? Obviously, he's 5. He's probably going to drop to 7 or 8. Everyone else is going to move up a rank or 2.
Pusta, can you hear me
Belal
now?
might get into, 8th, I think.
Pusta, can you hear me now?
It's hard, man, because you got Masvidal 6th, and dude doesn't deserve to be in there at all.
Yeah, it's such a log jam up there, man. It's weird. I want them to turn them around quicker. And that doesn't help either, you know. Colby just Gilbert fought. When was the fight against Wonder Boy? July, right? Granted, again, to Gilbert's credit, he's been saying he's trying to fight. No one wants to fight. Leon fought in June, but he's kind of squatting. Luque fought in August? Yeah, I think August. He's been wanting to fight. And then we're at Thompson. So I mean, these guys say they want to fight, and then the fights aren't happening. So I don't know.
I think the first quarter of this next year will give us a lot of answers of this division. I think that we're gonna see possibly Luque get in a fight soon, coming from the UFC gods. Hopefully, they'll sign him somewhere. Nate Diaz will somewhere get in there. Maybe Dustin. Who knows?
Oh, and yeah, what if Dustin enters the welterweight? And he stays there. Now it's making it even more murky.
Actually, you're right, because if he did, he would instantly be a top 3, a top 5. He would definitely lead from Burns. I don't know about Leon, but and when you see Luque at 4, that even blows my mind. Luque at 4, that's crazy, man. That guy's a monster.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of the scariest guys in this whole division. He's behind Hamzat.
His name is so appropriate, man. Silent Assassin. No one knows who the hell he is. No one knows who this guy is, but he just goes in, puts some people to sleep one way or another, and then goes home. And he's so nice. I think that's the thing. He's just a super sweet dude, very humble. You know, gives everyone credit where credit is due.
Yeah. I agree. But man, what a fun division.
Yeah. Andrew, I know you're troubleshooting, but given that Bilal's your guy, do you wanna mooch him a little more before we move on to Lee Motion Hill?
No, I think that was enough mooching.
Mm.
All right, so
Mike,
congrats to Bilal. I still don't like you, but
Hey,
congratulations.
Pusta, see if you could tell me if you can hear
yeah.
me. So there's no
Honestly,
point.
great fight from his end. And actually, what I was gonna say is, man, that was a hard fight to watch. As someone who actually likes Wonder Boy, nicest guy in the UFC, right? Top 3 nicest guy in the UFC. That was a hard fight to watch, man. Dude just getting ragdolled, elbowed, everything up, trying to Kimura him. Man, that was hard to see. Thank God the bell came when that
Yeah.
Kimura was happening, man, because I was clinching, dude.
Yeah. All right, so that's our co-main, and now yeah. So I was gonna say, did we miss any bonus performances? But those first two fights we covered, neither of those four gentlemen got any bonuses. You can make a case that maybe Bilal should have got something, but maybe even Derrick, but nothing so far. Now we go to Amanda Lemos versus Angela Hill. This was the fight of the night. Like actually got awarded fight of the night by the UFC, and I agree with that decision. I do think it was fight of the night. We had covered this in our previews as well. At the time when we did the video, the odds that were on ESPN was minus 400 for Lemos and plus 300 for Hill. I don't remember what it closed at. I think it was closer than that. We were saying it's probably inflated, but we both expected Lemos to win. So she ended up winning, but I don't think any of us agreed. I think a lot of people, but it was us three, I don't think we agreed with the scorecard either.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree
Yeah,
with her
honestly,
winning.
I
I think
had
that
Lemos on 2 parlays as the final leg, some of them big, and man, I was already given up. If I was in Vegas, I would have ripped up my tickets at that point. Honestly, I thought Angela Hill had it,
MT, you're
and I
gonna
was
have
kind of
to
following a lot of the
mediate.
commentary and coming into it, the pre videos, and honestly, the line, I was like, all right, Lemos is a lock. But I had in the back of my mind what I was thinking was, all right, Angela Hill, well, she's a top 10 striker, strikes landed in the UFC, right? That was something you and I noticed. But man, this fight was another one, another hard one to watch, just because I had Amanda on some parlays. But man, with the whole time, what I'm thinking is this girl's 11-1. She's trying to get a title fight, and Angela Hill does this to her. Man, I was like, all right, first off, what a great keeper from Angela Hill, gatekeeper from Angela Hill. But at the same time, dude, Amanda Lemos looked really bad. In the first round, we had a fun first round, but then from there, after that, that was Angela
After
Hill
the
took the
first round,
second
it got
round.
rough.
Yeah, the second and third round, Angela had it. But yeah, pull up the scorecards. It'll be interesting to see who gave
Hey,
Amanda the
MT,
rounds. What is this, Saul D'Amato?
you're gonna have to middle ground between the two of us, because he doesn't know
No,
when I'm
not that
talking. So,
one. This is the bottom of the
MT,
prelims.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. Okay, that's right. All right, Pusta, since you can't hear Andrew, he's going to say something now. Andrew, what were you going to say?
Uh, I was basically gonna say exactly what he said. This is gonna be weird, man. We're gonna have to figure this out. Um, ask, you know what? Hold on. Do you have a volume control thing like anywhere in Restream, like on the left, on the right, like a way
Are you
to
asking me?
increase? Yeah. Do you see an
Um,
option to be able to raise or lower people's volumes?
um, not that I see. No,
Because that doesn't make sense. If you can hear me but he can't, you know what I mean? Like then it's not on my end.
he's in Flint. I think it's just their issues over there.
Can I? I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna ask him to drop and rejoin.
Yeah, I just listened. I heard you on the stream. I actually can't. I don't have that option anywhere.
Oh, wait. Well, then we'll have like that reverb. If you, I
Well,
was gonna
because
say you can maybe just leave it, but also be like,
I can't drop because I'm.
he's saying drop and then rejoin and see if that works. I don't know if you heard that. Can you hear me now, Pusto, or no? You can't hear me either. Oh, Pete did. He's on.
Freaking Flint, huh? I don't know if you guys could see. You're gonna be able to see the numbers on there.
It's. Can you go one more in? One more zoom.
Yo, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you can hear? Okay, nice. Okay. Andrew, if you want to zoom, yeah, there you go. That's fine.
Oh, I went way too far.
One more.
Where the hell did it go?
It's gone. I think you're.
These ads keep loading.
This is so frustrating, guys. I don't know why, but Restream has a bunch of latency on it, and I'm not happy about this.
I think. Can you go?
When
Can
you
you
get
scroll
Saul
up anymore?
Diamato.
No, Saul Diamato actually wasn't one of those judges. It was some guy whose name I didn't recognize. Yeah, here we go.
Douglas Crosby.
Douglas Crosby. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I think the first round was clearly for Lemos. The second round I thought was clearly for Angela, but when they showed the round by round strikes, Lemos outlanded by one. So I don't know. I mean, but again, I still thought Angelo did enough job, in conjunction with control and all that for the second round. And then the third round, I think was the closest round in terms of the most competitive between the two. So I could understand a 29-28 for either of these ladies, but a 30-27, I don't know how you watched that whole fight and thought each round was clearly in favor of Lemos.
Well, and then the first especially is the only one where I was like, okay, that could have gone towards Lemos. Like that's the only one that I thought she won at the very least.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I don't know. Crazy. They're crazy.
When
These judges
did-
suck.
Yeah, man. Actually, a lot of people keep saying they want to see what is that, open judging, so you can see the scorecards as you go, especially for the title fights.
Oh, but that's
I
like
think
for
that would be
the fighters to know, you mean, right?
Yeah, right. Because if you're fighting a championship rounds, right, 4 and 5, at that point almost nobody knows, right? Because there's so much inconsistency in a 3-round. Imagine a 5-round by 3 judges. You have way more error possibility, I guess, coming from the judges. From this guy Douglas. Honestly, the second round should have been a clear win. It was 11 strikes to 21 for Angela Hill.
Total.
I don't know how you gave her a 10.
Huh.
But I'm looking at the stats here, and it says there's a knockdown for Amanda Lemos. I don't remember when she got that. Was that first round?
I think that was when she landed that nasty front kick. The up kick, I mean. She landed 2 of those. Isn't that crazy? She landed 2 of them. I think another thing that I think is very important we also touch on. In that first round, after Lemos landed that up kick, it looked like that was done because Angela looked like she was out. So the fact that she not only was able to get through the rest of that round, but then come back, win the second round, and arguably win the third round is nuts. And we talked about it during our preview that while Angela Hill's record entering this fight was 13-10, so it doesn't look nice on paper, it's very misleading because she's super tough. Like you mentioned, like we had mentioned, top 10 in UFC history for significant strikes landed between men or women. So she really has the ability. This was, by the way, I don't know if you guys heard it on the broadcast, her 4th or 5th time being a part of a split decision, and she's won one of them.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and I can remember off the top of my head, because we talked about in our preview, the fight against Michelle Watterson, that was a split too. I thought Angela won that fight as well. So, and I was reading some other people were saying she's been on the bad end of a lot of those split decision losses. So it's tough. I mean, at the same time, you could counter with finish your fight so you don't get to a decision, but
yeah, exactly. And she takes a lot of damage, which, in my opinion, she doesn't really hold the cage that well, right? She doesn't hold the dominant position, but honestly, and then she takes a lot of damage, which obviously for the refs from the distance they're watching from, I'm sure they're seeing some different things. But to the credit for, I guess, Dana White or whoever's giving the bonuses out, for this to be this was the fight of the night, right?
Correct. Yep.
For this to get fight of the night, exactly how you said. She had a terrible first round. She almost lost in the first round, and she came back, won the second, arguably, and the third. That's a fight of the night, man. If she could power through, I think that was awesome. But I mean, I guess she did go 1 for 7 on takedowns. I guess you can argue for the loss, but yeah, a 30-27, man, that's no way.
Yeah, no.
I can understand again 51 over the other, but not a 30-27.
Yeah, that's. I don't know who that Douglas guy is, but they got to get him
I
out
don't
of
remember
Vegas.
if they touched on this during the broadcast, but I had messaged you guys in our chat after the first. Like, is Lemos like gonna gas now? Because you could see her winding up. She was coming from like below the
Oh yeah.
hip with those strikes. She was fighting very loosey goosey, not really covered up a lot of the fight from the get go. Not just because she got tired. From the get go, she was fighting super loose. We have some fighters that are like that. Whatever, do your thing. But she was coming up with a lot of power, and maybe some of that was like that confidence that she had finishing in the first round, 3 of 4. Maybe she saw red whenever she landed that up kick and thought maybe I can do it. So maybe she blew her gas tank trying to finish it in the first round. But dude, second round, Andrew, sorry, if you could pull up the round by round one more time, I want to see just output. Not even necessarily what was landed, but I want to see a comparison of the output for Lemos from round 1 to round 2.
I don't know what this is. What am I looking at here? Because these numbers don't make sense to me.
This is
No,
do you
those
have
aren't the numbers.
go up more? That was by position. That's what it was. Okay, so just keep going up.
Maybe stats per round. Oh, here we go.
Here we
There
go.
you
So
go.
They've changed the
Lemos,
site
I'm
for.
assuming, is red.
Yeah, she landed
So
21 in the first.
Yeah. So okay. So yeah, I guess strikes are apparently the same number of total strikes, but significant strikes. Clear difference. 21 in the first for Lemos
Yeah.
versus 11 in the second. And you could see physically she was getting tired, which is like, all right, fine. You blew your gas tank, and we've talked about this with other fighters, men, women, whatever. But you're 115. This is like this is the smallest weight class in all of the division, for both men and women. You can't be gassed after the first round. I mean, and she's a bigger 115. Angela, look at, you can see she's a 115. Lemos could probably fight at 125. But you can't be gassed out after round 1 if you're 115. I think
Yeah, and especially if you're trying to go for a title fight. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? She's going her way up the rankings. She's trying to get her fight for the title, and then she does that. Yeah, I get it. You burn your gas tank in the first trying to finish her, but you gotta either can hold back or do something different, because to go for a title fight, if you're trying to go for against Rose or whoever's 115 Valentina, you gotta hold back. You gotta know when to play your cards the best. That blew my mind when someone's trying to go for a title and you have a 1-round gas tank. Sorry, but you're gonna have to be going for a while longer.
But again, the competition here isn't that steep, to be honest. So, there you go,
Yeah.
Andrew. That's a good view right there. The zoom out.
Originally, it was Nina Nunez too, so she was preparing for a different fighter, right? Because she dropped out for whatever the reason was. She withdrew.
But
so then now you got Angela Hill. Yeah, true, but still, like, you have someone who's got a good cardio in Angela Hill, who's been in the UFC for a long time. But man, that's
here,
crazy
looking at
to
the
me after that
rankings
first round.
third column, where you see at the top is Weili's name. So Lemos was at 11. She'll probably go above Hebas. She should go above Watterson because Watterson sucks. And I think she stops there. I don't think she should. Well, also, Claudia Gadelha is going to drop out of the ranking because she retired. I guess OnlyFans is treating her well. So we're going to see ups going up for most of the people, actually. So I think maybe we see Lemos land around maybe 7 or 8 after this.
Yeah, I was thinking 8.
I don't think Hill should drop because she arguably won. The only reason I'm saying, like, I'm giving this big of a leap, even though it was a pretty close decision, is because Hebas was okay. Like, she won her last fight. She did all right after a tough loss against Marina Rodriguez. Michelle Watterson just sucks, so it's just bias. I think she should go above her, and then I think it stops there. I don't think she did enough to take over from Tisha Torres. And Tisha Torres also, just before this fight for Angela Hill fought Tisha Torres for the second time, and Tisha Torres thoroughly dominated Angela Hill. Like, for those 3 rounds, there was nothing Angela did. Versus this fight where Angela, on short notice, 4 weeks notice, fights Amanda Lemos. Lemos struggled, clearly. So that's why I don't think she should be overtaking Tisha Torres. But I think that's a fun matchup maybe to see next. Tisha Torres versus Amanda Lemos. I don't know if Tisha has anything in the works right now, but I think that'll be a fun matchup. 2 pretty tenacious girls. Tisha, I think, will definitely at that juncture be the toughest test that Amanda would have faced.
Honestly, Amanda Lemos should go back for Nina Nunez. I think that'd be a good matchup. I just looked at the Tapology votes. I think it was 96% or somewhere up in the mid to low 90s for Amanda Lemos. So and you
against
got her ranked
Nunes?
6th, Nina Nunez. Yeah, so that'd be interesting to maybe try and run that back.
Yeah,
I think
possibly.
Nunez would not be 5% whatever she was before.
Possibly. Andrew, you have anything else to hop in on over here? What do you think they do with Lemos?
I have no idea, honestly, because I'm not really familiar with this division.
All you need to know outside of like the top 3-4 is really not that.
Well,
great.
I mean, it kind of has nothing to do with what we were talking about, but the only person on here that I look at where, yeah, like outside of Rose and Zhang Wei Li is this Virna chick, man. She's scary.
She's
Well, you
scary.
also
You
have
don't
Carla
know, you don't know where
Esparza.
she's looking, but she did just get neutralized by Amanda Hebus.
Yes, that
That's
is
the
true.
that's and it's kind of what we saw with Mackenzie Dern when you have, and we've seen it with other fighters too, like Ryan Hall when Ryan Hall fought Ilya Topuria. When you're so strong on the ground, but you have nothing on your feet, once someone starts tagging you on your feet, it's over. If you're having trouble getting into the ground, it's over. We saw that with Mackenzie Dern versus Marina Rodriguez. Mackenzie Dern had a good round one and then just lost the next 4 rounds because the boxing of Rodriguez just took over from Mackenzie Dern. So that's my only thing with Jandiroba is, and she looks horrible on her feet. Same way with Mackenzie Dern. Mackenzie looked horrible on her feet. Ryan Hall does not look good on his feet. These guys that are super, like 99% strength in the ground game and then like 1% on their feet. So that's why I don't really see Jandiroba going anywhere because it's going to be tough to hang. Like, what is she going to do whenever if she somehow makes her way up to like Wei Li or makes her way up to Rose or even to Carla or to Rodriguez? Like it's not gonna pan out well for these types of fighters.
Yeah, and obviously for the next title matchup, you have Carla Esparza versus Rose. So we'll see where they take
You
it
say
from.
obviously, but they still haven't done it. I don't know.
Well,
And I
I
think
mean,
it just
that fight just
draw.
happened. What?
No one
3 weeks
knows or
ago, a month
cares
ago.
about Carla Esparza. I think that's why. This is like you can't make a PPV around that. It's going to be like the co-main, or if there's 3 title fights, it's going to be probably the third one.
They've done them in the past, and the whole card was garbage. So I think they should learn from it, unless they have a whole card of just cans, But
yeah,
I think the women divisions are coming up. There's a lot of really high-ranked fighters that are making names for themselves. They have to do something, you know what I mean? They're trying to make the fights exciting. It's not really working that well for a lot of the casuals, but they got to do something. I mean,
what we've
outside
talked
of
about
the
times is that it's so top heavy for these women. Like you have like 5-7 really good fighters between the 3 divisions, and then you might have like 3 to 5 okay fighters, and then the rest is just a pile of crap that's just there.
Yeah,
for the sake of being.
And then you have some girls coming up like Casey O'Neill, Miranda Maverick.
We just got,
I guess Macy Barber, right? They're coming up, and then they're getting defeated by cans, right? They're losing to cans. So you're like, all right, well, there goes everything. There's everything that I was hoping for. Someone giving a good title shot contention, but then
and they keep giving. They've been like Casey O'Neill. The reason I don't throw her into that potential list yet is because she has fought absolutely nobody, and her next fight is against Roxanne Modafferi. Like we're giving her a 40-year-old blind woman. I mean, come on.
Yeah, who's basically on her way out. She's on her way out.
Antonina Shevchenko, but Shevchenko was also kind of on the down. Like she's had a couple of questionable losses too. So I don't know. I'm not saying I don't see it for Casey O'Neill, but like I'm not going to base it off of like her probably ragdolling Roxanne Modafferi. But we've also seen Roxanne randomly pull off upsets too. So
yeah, we have.
All right, so that was our fight of the night. A good fight. Debatable on who won, but good fight. Next, we go to Ricky Simon and Rafael Assunção. Man, tough for Rafael. I mean, this guy's has gone through the absolute ringer in the bantamweight division.
R.I.P.
Yeah, that's probably. I don't know if they release him, but again, like contention opportunity. That's it. 4th straight loss in a row for Assunção. He just lost to Ricky. He got obliterated by Cody Garbrandt. He lost to Corey Sandhagen, and then he lost to Marlon Moraes. His last win was over 3.5 years ago for Rafael Assunção.
Crazy, man. And he's pushing 40 years old.
Yeah, so that's probably about it for him. I don't know what his contract situation is, but like he won't be doing too much anymore. Conversely, for Ricky, if we jump onto his thing, complete opposite. 4th straight win after having lost 2 losses in a row.
Yep.
Granted, those 2 losses was against Rob Font, Uriah Faber. So pretty good people to lose to. I don't remember how Uriah was kind of older at that point, but still. But he's beat Asan Sao. He's beat Brian Kelleher. I don't know who Perello is, and then he beat Ray Borg. The stiffest of competition, no, but okay competition. Entering this fight, he was calling but not calling for Sean O'Malley, and then he called but not called for Sean O'Malley again after the fight. You expect he cracks into the rankings after this fight? I mean, Bisping was kind of giving him crap about that. He was being complete ass. But I mean, good for him. It was a good performance.
Hey, LFA champ right there, Andrew. What do you think about that?
It was a quick performance. Oh, I'm stoked, man. Like, well, that's interesting. So
he was a headliner there too.
He won Contender
Where's your head
Series,
at, man?
Contender Series, and then LFA. Like, how does that?
Well, because he won by split decision. Dana doesn't like that. So if you win split decision on Contender Series, you're probably not going to get a contract.
Dana's so mean, guys. But so look at.
But then they gave him Merab.
Yeah, but this is over.
That's what I was gonna get at. Look at who he's fought. He's fought Volashvili, he's fought Jackson, and he's fought Yaya, and he beat them. So it's not like the guy's a nobody just
for sure.
coming up out of nowhere. Like there's some solid wins under his belt, dude.
Dude, he's 29.
And the funny thing coming into this,
pretty good.
And the funny thing coming into is he lost to Rob Font in 2019, but then you look at it, and Asuncao beat Rob Font in 2018. So right before that. Interesting. I mean, the MMA math here is kind of interesting when it came into it. But then, he got obliterated by Cody. And that was Cody's last win. So it's like, all right, well, who's this dude? Who's this Asuncao that we're going to see today, you know?
Andrew, can you pull up the bantamweight rankings for a sec? So, like 170, 135 is pretty stacked. If we go down a little bit, the top doesn't really matter here. Yep, right there is fine. So we had Asuncao was 12. Honestly, he's probably going to drop out of the rankings after this. So
Absolutely.
Sean O'Malley might go from unranked to maybe about 12. Song Yudong maybe goes to 13. Salman maybe goes to 14, and then maybe they put Ricky at 15, or maybe they leapfrog Ricky to 14 and drop Stallman down to 14. I do think he for sure should get a ranking after this fight. Again, 4 fights in a row. He's fought pretty decent competition. He just beat a guy who has been.
And that was a nice finish. That was a nice finish too.
Yeah, it was, dude.
And I can't remember.
I think he should pop the rankings.
I don't think he got performance. If you guys want, you can jibber jabber for a second.
No, he didn't get it. He didn't get a bonus for that.
He didn't. Okay.
What I want to point out is how heavy his pressure was in that first round, man. It was nuts. You know, like he got that finish, but he worked for that finish. You know, like he put so much pressure on. I don't want to butcher his name. On what? Asuncao.
Rafael Asuncao.
Asuncao. Like I don't know. I don't think he had a response to it, man. Like somebody's gonna keep coming at you like that. It's nuts.
Crazy. I think that was honestly he should have deserved the bonus. Dana was a little bit strange, I'm sure, because in UFC
he was too generous the week before.
Yeah, exactly. 269, he gave out a bonus to everyone that showed up, so that was interesting.
You guys passed the COVID test? Here you go, 50K.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there was some.
He
had 10 finishes on this card. He stiffed a few of them. I would say Ricky is one of them.
Yeah,
for sure.
It was a fun fight.
Who would we make?
Ended quick.
Who would we make Simon fight?
That's a good question. I think give him Cody Stallman. I mean, if I'm gonna pull him up on my end. If you want to click his name there, Andrew.
Pedro Munoz would be fun, but you can give him a bigger name than that.
Cody, I want to say, has lost his last 2. Yeah, there you go. But against tough competition, he lost to Merab, and then he lost to Jimmy Rivera. And he also had again. I think to Stallman's credit, he did have a draw against Song Yadong. I think this could be a fun matchup if you do Cody
Merab
versus
and Simon V2.
Yeah, he fights out of Michigan top team. How about that, Pusta?
Hey, I'll go check him out.
Oh, Stamen's fighting Khabib's cousin.
Oh, never mind then. Let's take that away.
Wow. Oh, and
I
that's
don't
all right.
think
That's
that
this
might
month.
is that one Khabib's cousin because I think there's an Amalgamated that isn't related to him.
No,
How is
that's
that even
not his
possible?
cousin.
This one isn't his cousin.
They
Okay,
all
so this
look
is
the
the one
same.
that isn't. Damn, that kind of makes it a little tricky then because I really want to see Song Yadong versus Sean O'Malley. But if they don't do that, you can give him Sean O'Malley. Again, he was asking for it. I think that would be a fun fight. At that juncture, you could maybe make the case that could maybe be Sean's toughest test to date.
Yeah.
I think he could
Superseding.
keep
I think
the-
Khabib's cousin
Sean
is the
for
dude
sure.
in Bellator, by the way.
That's one of them. I feel like he might have another one. No,
No, because that's Usman. I don't even know how to say it. Nurmagomedov.
there you go. Yep. My vote is maybe then Sean. I was gonna say Sean Yadong, Song Yadong or Sean O'Malley, because at that point, Frankie Edgar, maybe you could do Frankie Edgar. I mean, again, Frankie's just kind of tough luck. He's had tough luck, just always. The Pedro Munoz one you brought up, Andrew, I don't know if he's there yet. So there's a couple of I think there's 2-3 matchups there that are kind of fun for him.
Honestly, the only thing I could MMA math think of is Merab. Merab lost to him. Merab's probably looking for a fight. Dude loves to run it back.
Yeah, but nah, Marab has gone in a complete different direction since then. So I don't think he's.
Yeah, he needs
I
bigger
don't think
names.
he's there yet. Because
But I mean, that's the only one I.
I don't know. Is there someone in particular, Andrew, you'd like to see him tee off against?
I think the O'Malley one can work out. I mean, I think he could actually keep pace with O'Malley. So that might be interesting.
Let's see what they do with him. Chugging along. Next, we have. This was Diego Ferreira against Gamrot. I'm not even gonna try the first name. Puso, you wanna lead off on this one? This is your boy.
Man, Gamrot coming into this, I knew he was one of my locks. Given Fajeda's had some really good experience in the UFC, he's been in for a while. He's got a lot of fighters. I'm pulling up his card right now, but coming into this, man, Polish power is real. What's his name? Mateusz Gamrot. Yeah, Mateusz Gamrot. That's how you pronounce it.
Yeah. Before you go into Gamrot more, for Ferreira, it's a tough loss. But coming into it, so he's 17-5 now. So he lost to Gamrot. Before this, he lost to Gregor Gillespie, who's an animal, and then before that, he lost to Dariush. So a murderer's row of 3 fights to have.
Yeah.
For an unranked guy, those are some 3 tough fights to go through, dude.
The awesome thing about Gamrot coming into this, the first fight I saw him fight was earlier this year. I don't know if you guys remember, against Scott Holtzman, ground and pound second round, performance of the night. Right after that, in July, Jeremy Stevens, another performance of the night, Kimura round 1.
Yeah, dude, that Kimura
coming into it, I'm like,
I remember that, dude. I thought he was gonna break his arm.
Yeah, and he's been a favorite in his last fights, over minus 240 his last 2 fights. Coming into this one, he's minus 250 again. So all 3 fights basically the same line for him. But honestly, even as he's one of my favorite fighters. I don't know a ton about him, but just watching his last fights, he's been a beast. I had to put him in all my bets, man. I needed him. But yeah, looking at Fajeda a little bit was scaring me because this dude had so much experience. Beat Anthony Pettis, crazy dude, and he's gone up. He beat Jared Gooden, which nothing crazy, but he's fought Benel Dariush twice. Dustin Poirier, he lost to him back in 2015. Man, dude has all the experience. So I was thinking, all right, top level experience. Maybe he could just handle Gamrot in 3 rounds, but. Dude, Gamrot finished it, and what was that, the second? That was beautiful. Those knees, oh my god, dude, I felt those from across the U.S.
Man.
And when he was waving his hand, right? Dude was trying to quit, and then he just locked them up in the submission. Man, that was rough. That was a rough ending to watch because I feel for him, but dude,
you could hear when they replayed it. You could hear what's his face. I forget the name of the. No, it wasn't the ref.
Was it Herzog?
Yeah. Jason, rub your hands together, Herzog, dude. Yeah. You could hear him telling him to stop, and he's just like, "No, I'm not gonna stop." It just locked in. I was laughing, dude.
Well, wasn't he? He was waving his hands, saying the fight is off. Herzog, if you look at the video, the camera zooming in. Basically, Ferreira gives up, and then he grabs his neck. I'm like, "What are you doing?" Herzog, get in there, dude. Throw your hands in there. You're rubbing your hands together.
Yeah,
You're
that's
not
what I
using them.
said.
Herzog doesn't want any part of it, man.
Gotta keep those hands clean.
And then after
But
that,
that was a beautiful finish.
He took a shot from Amanda, either Lemos or Angela Hill during the fight. It was
Yeah,
the round
yeah.
ended, and then he got hit or something.
Yeah.
So tough night for.
But what a nice finish, though. Look at the striking comparisons, right? 31 to 37, but obviously the power, right? He knew what to do. He ended it with the knees. He didn't have the advantage almost anywhere. Yeah, he had 4 out of 7 takedowns, and he was just lifting this dude up around the ring. That was awesome. But I look forward to all of his fights, and honestly, coming up, they got to give him a big name coming up, someone bigger than Diego. So if we pull up the rankings, we could take a look. But man, Gamrot's got a bright future in the UFC.
I mean, again, he's at 155, and you're so stacked there too.
Rough.
So here we go.
Let's see.
Zalrukian already has a dance partner. Maybe Brad Riddell. How about that'd be fun? Brad Riddell. Oh man,
That would be awesome.
Someone's going to sleep
That would be a banger. Yeah, that would be a banger.
because he just beat 12. So
Yeah.
he's probably going to end up
UFC fight.
knocking out Joel Alvarez. Andrew, if you go down one more scroll,
To see 15.
yeah, Joel Alvarez is 15. So this probably knocks out Joel Alvarez, I would say. Or it knocks out Diego. So maybe they bump everyone else up, drop Diego out, and then put in.
But what are
Gamrot.
you thinking? I mean, this was his 4th fight in the UFC. He's won 3. All 3 were finishes. And he's seen the 3rd round once in the UFC. Is he going to take a place in the rankings now by beating Diego? I don't think so, but
I think he should.
Because again, like
I don't think so, because
Diego's fought who's who. So I think if you beat someone like that,
and he hasn't won a fight in a while. Yeah.
yeah, but again, the
15.
people he lost to, again, you have Dariush, and then who else did we say? It was Dariush,
Gregor
Gregor Gillespie, and Gregor's right there too.
Yeah.
They gotta. I mean, very, very quick aside. They gotta get Gregor somewhere. I don't know if he's got anything lined up.
Oh man,
he's been quiet for a while. I mean, I know Arman was asking
Yeah.
for that fight. It doesn't matter now because he's fighting Alvarez, but he's too good to be.
yeah.
gathering
Actually,
dust.
that was his last fight.
Too busy
Yeah.
fishing.
Yeah.
You know what would be interesting though?
His last
is,
fight was Diego Ferreira.
Gamrot versus Fiziev.
That would be
Well,
interesting.
Fiziev is calling out. Who's
Also-
Fiziev calling out right now? RDA.
Yeah, I have no interest in that fight at all.
I don't
Money
think so
fight.
either. Right, you need
It's not,
Fiziev
though.
needs a straight up
It's not.
boxer.
I think Fiziev, the only logic I have there is that RDA is also one of those guys that has, bordering like that.
He's on his way out,
legendary OG status. He's been there for a while.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could think of. I know RDA's been trying to fight people too, but he's like kind of been over ambitious with some of his call outs and stuff. He's kind of got to show.
And he's been getting injuries everywhere. You know what I mean? Dude keeps pulling out of fights because injuries.
And
It's
he's
hard to
also
even place
older. I
him.
want to say he's at least 35, RDA.
Yeah, he's getting up in age, but he's doing really good. Obviously, his career right now, but it's just hard, man. You got to think of who's Gamrot's going to take next in the top 15.
Did anybody catch what he said after he won the fight? Because I couldn't understand him, but he did call somebody out. I couldn't understand what he said.
I couldn't understand him either. That accent was too heavy for me.
Let me see if we could pull that up. Maybe.
Yeah, let's see how quickly can we get our live stream pulled. Well, I do like while you're looking that up, I do like the idea of
Michael Chandler is who he called out.
all right, chill.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
if
do
you look
like
at the
the
top
idea of
15, there's a lot of
Fiziev
potential
over
fights
Riddell.
for him. Dan Hooker, that's a potential matchup for him coming up. That's a stand-up fight for both of them. That'll be fun. I think he would piece up Dan Hooker. I mean, at 155, Dan Hooker's a fun fight.
Dan
but
won't take it. Dan was being a little
he's
punk.
going down.
Yeah, Dan
he's
was
going
being
down
a
in
punk.
weight, right?
Zalrukian was trying to ask for him.
But
So I don't
isn't
think-
Dan
I don't
Hooker
think
going to
he can press him on
145?
that one.
He's going featherweight.
Oh, that's right. He did say that.
Yeah. And so is DP. So there's at least 2 out of this ranking. So actually, if they start moving those guys out, which wouldn't be tomorrow, but
So that's the thing. I don't know if for DP or for
Is
Hooker,
that actually
it's a
confirmed
permanent thing.
for Dustin?
What's that?
Is it actually confirmed that Dustin's moving down a feather?
No, nothing official, but he did say he can't imagine making that weight cut to 155 again.
yeah. Wait, why is Giga down in ranking? What the? Oh, I guess he's gonna go back up after he beats Qatar.
Giga went down because of Emmett, and then
Right.
he'll stay there. These are, by the way, not updated for yesterday. These will update on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. My vote is Riddell or Fiziev. I like the Fiziev suggestion too.
Yeah.
Make
yeah.
it
So
like
that's
Connor.
Fiziev would be fun.
What's that?
I want Connor to fight. Make him fight Connor. Make everybody fight Connor. That should just be like, man, if you want to get into the rankings for that division, you just have to fight McGregor.
That would be fun.
Dana would take it.
Honestly,
You know how
I'll
much money
watch
that they'll
Connor
make?
fight anyone.
They were whispering about Connor and Oliveira. Oliveira was saying he'll take it because Oliveira's like, I'm not dumb.
fair.
Obviously, I'm going to take that fight.
So you Gaethje's out of luck again? Is that what's happening?
No, I mean that won't happen. No, they're gonna. I think Gaethje will shoot them all up if they don't give it to him. Any last notes on Ferreira and Gamrot?
No, I mean, to finalize it, I mean, Fajeda, he got in the rankings with some good wins, and then he's in a 3-fight loss streak right now. He's probably going to get his way pushed out of the rankings, or if anything, stay at 15 and then or go to 15, and then Gamrot's going to try and squeeze his way in there, and then he's got a bright future, man. He's got great takedowns, great striking, great knees. You saw that his leg kicks are brutal.
Yeah.
He's pretty well rounded. It'd be interesting to see where his weakness is. You know what I mean? I mean, his defense isn't that great, but let's see. Let's see him push the rankings.
I want to see him test it a little bit. Andrew, anything on your end?
No, that covered it, man.
Cool. All right, so now we get to one of the performances of the nights. Cub Swanson versus Darren Elkins completely made a fool out of you and I, Andrew. We were saying this might be the fight of the night contender. This probably will go the whole way. Pusta was telling you to throw in the over, and you're like, this ain't going over. Best year for Tacoma. As Ricky's from Vancouver. Yeah, I guess it could be, Nick, because you had Juliana Pena winning. And you had Michael Chiesa making a fool out of himself, tearing his eye, trying to hop over the octagon. We also had Brady, what's his last name? High Stand training out of there too. He didn't win tough, but he did a nice job there. He cost me a parlay that would have paid out nice, but he split decision, or he went to decision with Ricky Tercio. So yeah, I mean, good year so far for, well, not so far, the year's done, but yeah, it was a good year for that area. And not really a region you would, or city in Washington you would expect.
Jackson Wink with a win.
Yeah, we'll get to those guys too. Yeah, so Cub, dude, I don't know what else to say besides sniper. I mean, he looked so crisp. That's a spam thing, by the way, Andrew.
I feel like you're aware.
Why'd you pop it up over there?
I don't know. I'm trying to highlight the spam. Don't go to that site, people.
Yeah, make me a mod. Make me a mod.
You just want to have the wrench.
Yeah, he just wants to think.
Dude, but if you look at Cub Swanson's last fights, man, crazy. Almost a year ago today, he beats Daniel Pineda, right cross. That's a second round finish. Loses in May of this year to Giga, with obviously
that whatever was rough.
Rough, man. I honestly, watching this, I didn't get to watch this fight because I was driving at the time, but all I could think about was like, man, please don't get hit in the liver again. This guy's liver is going to be removed from his body. Yeah, but man,
really
honestly,
Cub
you were
won.
saying, well, I'm ecstatic, man. I'm not a biggest fan of Elkins just because his last Minner fight, because man, he was just getting wrecked for the whole fight, and then he
that's like his career. Like, oh, shit. That's why he looks the way he looks.
Exactly. The damage, but. Cub Swanson, man, his if you look at his fights, alternating. Lost to Burgos, won against Kron Gracie, lost to Jake Shields, actually, that was a grappling bout, and then he beat Daniel Pineda, lost to Giga, and now he won against Darren Elkins. It'd be crazy to see where his career goes from here, because this guy's just floating around, you know what I mean? He's not going to get a title shot anytime soon.
He's not at all. Like, the featherweight again, he can't do that. I think, again, this was like a fun matchup of like two guys that have been around for some time, both over 10 years. For Cub, I think he clearly showed he can still stick around even though he's 38. But for Darren, don't let him fight again, dude. He already like kind of stumbled in there. I had picked him to maybe win. Like I thought that was like a decent value pick. But
Yeah, I thought so
the
too.
way he was like, he
The
was
value
just
was really good.
the value was good. It didn't pan out, obviously, but like I felt so bad watching him like just blindly trying to grab Cub because he didn't know where the hell he was. It
Yeah.
was rough to see, and he already looks like he's
That was like Gatto finishing
fourth
Eubanks, where she was
stage
grabbing her
CTE.
leg, walking away.
Pull him out of there, man.
Dude, the line closed up pretty significantly between when we put out those videos or when we recorded it and then Saturday night. It was
Yeah, when we recorded, it was
40
minus 200 plus
points.
170, and then I think you said it was minus 170 plus 140, something like that.
Yeah. So
obviously,
we were
Pretty interesting to see. Pretty interesting to see in Cubs' career. Beats Charles Oliveira. Right after that, beats Dustin Poirier. Crazy, man.
it is crazy. You see some of these guys, like some of the people they beat. Granted, it's like way a while ago. So like look at it since 2013, whose career went in what direction, right? Dustin fights for the title twice. Oliveira wins the vacant title and then defends against Dustin. And in the meantime, again, like we said it during our preview, not that Cub hasn't fought anyone. Look at that. Ortega, Frankie Edgar, Shane Burgos, Renato Moicano.
Holloway.
He's fought Holloway. He's fought legitimate competition. It's just, for some guys, it just doesn't pan out. So, I mean, credit to him. He was very sharp, very precise. He looked really good. A good bounce back after a tough loss against Giga. Do I see a title contention in his future? No, but I do think he can cause some issues for up and comers, or not even necessarily up and comers, but just people that have maybe even been around trying to do some stuff. I don't know if he goes into the rankings. I don't know what this is the featherweights here. Yeah. No, I don't think he cracks the rankings with this. At best, maybe 15. Maybe he bounces Caceres, but I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I mean, he's just bouncing around, taking guys out on their way up, holding guys back, having some fun fights, winning some bonuses.
Yeah, I don't know if he's still at Jackson Wink because they said he's fighting out of Palm Springs. So I don't know if he's like his camp is in.
I think he had a mixed camp.
Huh.
But his career, he fought out of Jackson Wink.
Andrew, any last nuggets from you?
No, like I was saying in that preview video, my heart was telling me Cub, but I wanted Elkins.
Follow your heart, man.
Yeah, this is one of those cases, boys, where you should follow your heart, and it's this is the thing. You just never know, dude. You never know with this kind of shit. Don't play with your money, kids. Don't do it.
It's hard to bet. It's hard to bet against the damage, man.
Because he's so unpredictable. The guy's like, you think he's about to go into his grave, and then he randomly wakes up and kills the guy.
And he just throws you in his grave.
Thanks for doing the digging. Now you're going in. Who do we have next? Dustin, right? Dustin Stoltzfus?
Yeah,
Dustin
exactly.
Stoltzfus versus
GM3.
Gerald Meerschaert.
GM3.
Props to him, dude, because after he got absolutely pulverized by Hamzat, I think he's on the 4-5 win streak now? 3-5 win streak since that.
That's the 3 in GM3.
Yeah, that's the 3 in GM3. So next fight, make sure you dump on his opponent because he's going to lose. But do credit to him. 3 wins, 3 subs, and this guy, it's nuts. 34 wins now. 32 are finishes. You love that. That's crazy.
Actually, the crazy thing about this, which made me mad that he didn't get a bonus, was his last 2 fights were performance bonuses. His last 2 wins.
They were stingy, like we said. They were stingy yesterday, man.
The thing with Meerschaert is he's just such a slow starter, man. Like, you don't actually see any action out of him until well into the second and third. So, I guess it's not like the exciting kind of fighter where you're like, oh yeah, I can't wait for this fight. But whenever you see his name pop up, you're like, okay, this will be good.
Andrew, pull up the scorecards that I'm looking at on my end. It's kind of interesting because I didn't even bother looking at this one since obviously it was a finish. But what I'm looking at now is kind of interesting to see. You're on the wrong event.
Am I?
There you go. Now you're out the right one.
Oops.
This is the performances and all. This ain't it. All
Yeah, sorry. Give me a second, dude. I'm searching it because I don't want to keep scrolling. Oops.
I sent you the link. Oh, there you go.
I got it here.
So one judge had it 2018 for Stoltzfus. I'm sorry. Yeah, one judge had it 2018 for Stoltzfus, and then two had it 1919 entering that third round. Which you can see right here.
Wow.
Yeah. Obviously, it didn't matter because Gerald ended up wrapping him up, but could have possibly lost. Could have been a majority win. I don't know, but he's turning 35 shortly. It's a good win. Again, I don't see him doing necessarily anything in the middleweight rankings, but he's proved me wrong because after he had back-to-back knockouts. He got knocked out by Ian Heinisch, then he got knocked out by Hamzat. But good for him, rattled off 3 straight submission victories.
Yeah, and honestly, a couple of things. Stoltzfus, I don't see the way how this dude's going to keep his way in the UFC. But GM3, dude, he's working his way up. Like you said, props to him, dude. He gets destroyed, 20 seconds from Hamzat? And then comes back, like you said, 3 straight submissions. 2 of them were performance. Arguably, this one could have been one as well. He was losing. Interesting, man. I mean, like you said, he's a slow starter, Andrew. I mean, if he keeps it up, but I like the way he fights. He's pretty entertaining. But to be honest, when I was coming into this, how about the line? -250 or so for GM3.
I thought
that's not something that I would touch.
Pumped.
Yeah, definitely. That's not something I would touch. I mean, I'm a casual, but when I saw that, I was like, "Whoa, hold your horses." And then, I mean, I saw that second round, and I was like, "All right, well, the line was obviously, like you said, inflated." But hey, GM3 pulled it off again. Dude's got submission power. He's got game. We'll see what they do with him next. You know what I mean? That's going to be fun matchup. He's had some pretty big guys as of now, and they're working his way back up.
Yeah, 32 finishes, 26 are by submission.
Jesus Christ.
That's a record, man. That's a freaking record.
Tough for Stoltzfus.
If I'm not mistaken, they were saying he started MMA.
Right? He won Contender Series, and then he's lost every fight since then. So I don't know if we're going to see him around much longer.
Good transition into the next fight.
I had his win losses pulled up here, and he doesn't even fight that often either. I mean, you got 2 in 2020, 2 in 2021. I also don't like seeing those kinds of fighters where they fight like once, twice, maybe. Like I like to see just more activity, especially if you're a young guy. 30's not that old. Do something.
I mean, 2's okay. 3, I would prefer to see at least 3-2, but I mean, I don't know with COVID.
Yeah.
I don't remember if he's had
especially entering.
What's that?
Especially entering the UFC. That's not good, man.
Yeah, you came in 2020. Like you should have a little bit more activity, and we don't know.
I think they might give him one more. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do 3 to 4 fight contracts, initial contracts in the UFC anyway. So he might have one more on his contract. We'll see, but he's gonna be another guy for someone else to climb the rankings. Look at that, Kyle Dawkins worked his way up the rankings by fighting this dude.
GG, Dustin.
Sorry,
Who
bro.
we got next? Harry Horn.
Good transition into getting out of the UFC.
Yeah. Harry, whatever his name is, and then Justin Toffa. I mean, cut both of them. You can't be a heavyweight and miss weight. You got 60 pounds to work with. You have a 60-pound range, dog. How do you come in a pound overweight? Why are you squeezing out that last pound that close to it?
You said he was the first ever, right?
Yeah, first ever heavyweight. Thank you, Tiago. Absolutely no excuse.
I mean, even if Derrick Lewis can make weight, you can make weight.
Seriously, man, come on. I mean, Greg Hardy's making weight. He's beating women and he's making weight. What's your excuse, Toffa? I mean, stop eating spam. I don't know what the hell you're doing, but come on, dude. Conversely, though, fantastic finish. I don't know how he even knocked him out, honestly, because it looked like Hunsucker had his face covered up. But I guess maybe like the
I saw
reverb,
guard, yeah.
his hands into his own face. I don't know what. But dude, come on. I mean, you were 4-3 coming in. I know, a loss or two of those were kind of questionable, but you can't be missing weight in general. But also about Macy. Now Macy. Oh yeah, Chiasson, yeah, for sure. I felt the same way. I mean, you had to go from 135 to 145, and then you still missed weight by like 2.5 pounds. I mean, I get rid of her too. I'm not very kind on the weight missing. I mean, especially for these two. Again, heavyweight, you have 60 pounds to work with. For Macy, you got. I don't know why they bumped it from 135 to 145. I don't know if it was for Macy. I don't know what that whole reasoning was, but you got given an extra 10 pounds and you still come in overweight. Like, you don't deserve to be fighting. I mean, it's like one part of your job. That's a big prerequisite. Make weight. You show up at the weight we tell you got to be at.
I mean, to your point, man, like, especially as a heavy, you have all that extra room. It's nuts, man. It's nuts that you can't make that. So what's he walking around
true.
normally?
And to be honest,
I mean, like
450.
If you're gonna miss weight, at least try and win the fight. You know what I mean? Like, Toffa won the fight. Macy, come on.
We'll talk.
That effort
we'll touch on her too, but
that was embarrassing.
Again, for him, but I really couldn't get past the fact that he missed weight. I don't really have anything else to add on.
Yeah, and honestly, I didn't even know who Harry Hunsucker was, so I had to look into him, and I got his Tapology pulled up right here. His first fight in the UFC was Contender Series, Jared Vanderaa. Lost to him, ground and pound, round 1. All right. He didn't win that, obviously. Okay, so he had another fight. And then his other UFC fight was against Tai Tuivasa. Everyone knows how that goes. Tai Tuivasa wins his fights as a round 1, ground and pound. Overhand dropped him. And then you got Justin Toffa. So this dude's 0-3 in the UFC, including one of those losses in the Contender Series. I don't know what they're going to do with him. Dude's a can. He's, 7-5 right now? Can't say much better about Justin Toffa. 4-3, 5-3 after this win.
Cut them both.
I mean, they're good guys to just throw in there for knockouts. You know what I mean?
They're fat heavyweights. Cut them both
in the prelims. I mean, that's what they want, right? That's what we want as casuals. We want knockouts, and this dude will give you knockouts. He's either going to be knocked out or give you a knockout.
I don't like these pancake.
I guess for both of them,
it's looking like he's gonna keep getting knocked out, man. That's what it looks like it's gonna happen. I mean, look at this dude.
Exactly.
I don't see this trajectory
That's
changing.
rough, man.
Looks like someone just copy and pasted. KO.
All right, let's go to. I was gonna say Shajara. Sajara Eubanks, Melissa Gatto, another missed weight. I think this is the second time, at least, maybe, that Eubanks has missed weight. Cutter.
Mr. or Mrs.? Who knows?
Yeah, Mr. or Mrs. Eubanks. I don't know which one. I honestly, I don't care about Eubanks that much already entering this fight. We look at...
I'm surprised she lost, to be honest. Like,
me too.
I don't particularly care so much for her either, but I'm shocked that she lost. I did not think that she was going to... Gatto popped once, and
that's not surprising. Honestly, they both probably juiced together, Thiago.
Well, I'm sure everybody noticed, but the pit hair under Eubanks's arms, man. Like, I'm looking at that going, what? How much testosterone are you taking, dude?
She is lesbian, so she might be the dude in the relationship.
There's laser focused on the jungle pits.
Dude, like, it doesn't surprise me that Gatto would pop, dude, because I'm sure if you did your due diligence, Eubanks would pop too.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was a nice finish, but I'm not putting.
Yeah, but
Gatto's what 8-0-2.
Quite a little bit.
I don't know, but yeah, I mean, if you've got caught juicing, we've talked about it already. I think I'm all for redemption. So if it's one time, fine, but let's see. I mean, 8-0-2 flyweights again with the women. It's kind of hard to be nitpicky. I mean, I look at it as like kind of hard to be nitpicky on the UFC side because it's not that fruitful. So if you find anything you can maybe work with, you try and do something with it. Get over
After you have the rankings, look at the fight stats too. I thought this was a pretty actually interesting fight. I mean, she got a
this was an
performance
interesting
bonus.
fight.
Yeah, because wasn't Eubanks winning in the first round? Like she was piecing her up.
I have the scorecards on my end.
I think she even got a takedown in that first round.
Yeah, all three judges have it 10-9 for round one, and then all three had it 10-9 round two for Gatto. So they had it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, honestly, when this fight opened up, I was like, all right, Sajar, or as everyone says, Sarge. When she was taking that first round, I was like, what the hell? She's a beast. I mean, obviously, seeing her, I thought she was a beast, but then I saw her coming out of that first round. I was like, all right, this fight's over. The line was obviously too inflated. Let's see what happens. Sarge is going to take it. And then the second round happens. She slows down. She does get a takedown in the round, but she went 1 for 3, and then she went 7 of 15 in significant strikes. Melissa went 37 for 51. It flipped right away in the second round. I don't know, cardio or what. The juice got loose or what.
I don't know if they
down for the lesbian.
8-7, not too impressive. She's lost 3 of 4. She finished her last fight, but hasn't been too great. She's been in the UFC for a while though. She was on Contender Series.
Yeah, she had.
Not Contender Series, Ultimate Fighter back in 2017. So she's been around for some time, and she's been pretty active. 4 fights in 2020, 2 fights in 21. So of late, she's been active. And of those 6 fights that I said, dating back to 2020, she is 3-3. So again, you can keep her just because there's not too much going on with like that bottom.
I mean, her record is pretty rough. Her record is pretty rough, but she's fought some good fighters. Penny Kianzad. Okay, Elise Reed was a can, sure. She beat her. She was 4-0. We all saw that 4-0. We're like, what the heck? But like you said, she's been pretty active, and she's been trying to stay even more active. I mean, she has 3 canceled fights in this current year. There were 3 canceled fights. One was due to her because of COVID. That was Luana Carolina, I think. But yeah, she was supposed to fight Cachoeira. That was called off. I don't know, something happened with Cachoeira. Carol Rosa, she was supposed to fight her. So she's been pretty active, and honestly, that's what you need in the women's MMA, women's UFC. And dude, she's a beast. She's strong. She punches hard. Didn't she knock her down or get hurt? It seemed like she hurt her pretty bad on the first strike she landed in the first round.
Are you talking about Eubanks or are you talking about Gatto?
Eubanks.
I think there was I saw a... No knockdown.
There was a takedown in the second round.
Yeah, she had 1 takedown. Eubanks did, but no knockdown. She had 6 minutes of control time versus 3 for Gatto.
Yeah. She throws hard, man. She's scary. She's a good, for anyone up and coming, like a perfect example, Melissa Gatto. Give him to her. Give him to the Sarge, as they say.
Whatever. I don't have anything else to add about. I really don't care about Eubanks. And then Gatto.
All right, this is your fight. Here we go. Let's hear it.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm so bullish on this dude. So I'm glad it went the way it did. Charles Jourdain versus Andre Ewell. We did a preview of this one too, and I think our question for that video was, what's that?
30-26, man. That's awesome.
I don't agree with that one. I thought the 2027 was the most accurate, but so what we were posing was like both guys kind of had mediocre records in the UFC. Would one or the other be able to separate themselves out? Yeah, the answer was yes. Charles definitely did. Maybe the end for Andre, maybe not, but Charles, I think for sure separated it out. I didn't know entering this fight, it was his last fight on his UFC contract. He mentioned it during that post fight octagon interview to Bisping. I mean, you gotta for sure give him at least like another 2-3 fight deal. Even though now that his record now in the UFC becomes 3-1, again on paper not that great, but he's definitely an exciting fighter to watch. This was his first time. This was his 12th win, but the first time he didn't win by finish. But there was definitely a couple moments during that fight where I thought he was going to finish him. Specifically, I think it was the second round. It was because I remember I said Charles will win via second round finish. That there was that. I think he clipped him or something, and then Ewell went from like one end of the octagon to the other, stumbling and fell down. I thought he was out. I was like, oh, that's it. We're done here. And then somehow he just survived that. So credit to Ewell there. But I mean, Charles just ultimately, because I think I had round one for Ewell. I just thought the activity was there a little bit more for Ewell. I was a little bit worried. But then Charles really separated himself out those next 2 rounds. And the ending, how emphatic was that ending, right? I think Ewell just kind of dropped his hands, sort of. He's kind of like, whatever. I forgot. I was trying to catch what happened there because I got so caught off guard with that Sparta kick. I think he was kind of like going like this, or he was doing something with his hands, Ewell was. And then, hey, the fight wasn't done yet. There was still a second or 2 seconds left. And then Jordan just, said, welcome to this. He said, this is Sparta, and just launched him. And honestly, very fitting ending, though. I mean, absolutely put an exclamation point on a very dominant second and third round for him.
Which is what I said in that preview, right? I pretty much said that he needs to win decisively, not by sub, because clearly he gets his KOs.
You said he doesn't. This was, I think, the guy you mentioned earlier.
Yeah,
it was Jordan. You said he doesn't have to win by finish, but he just needs to, make it a good decision win.
Yeah, which he did. I mean, and I
for sure.
I kind of agree with you too. I don't know about the 30. What do they give it? A 29-26?
Someone said 30-26. I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that. 30-27 makes more sense to me. And then how do you get to this number?
I think he deserved a 10-8.
29-27 I agree with because I gave round 1 to Ewell, so that's 10-9. Round 2 was 10-8. Let's see what they did. I'm imagining it was 10-9 Ewell, 10-8 Jordan, and then 10-9 Jordan again. That's what I think the 29-27 would have been. Let's see.
Do I gotta go the other direction? Man, I hate their website, dude.
Wix, dude. Wix.
Okay. I don't know if you guys could see that. Try to enhance just a bit.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did. 10-9 Ewell, 10-8. Oh, they did 10-8 in the third round. Okay. I went
the 10 in the third. Yeah, that makes sense. That's when I thought the 10-8 would have been.
I think this was also his
honestly,
most
I'll be surprised
in a fight for Jordan. So again, yeah, if your contract's expiring, last fight on the deal, if you're ever going to set some career marks, that's a good time to do it. 137 significant strikes to 56, pretty impressive, man. And he's very crisp. It's fun to watch. His lone possible weakness that we're gonna have to see if he's going to be able to get tested more, assuming the UFC keeps him, is the ground. I mean, he's got 3 wins on the ground, but that's where he's kind of shown most susceptibility, and he sometimes can get a little reckless on his feet. But otherwise, I think if he tightens those things up, I think he can cause some problems for a featherweight because I think his endurance isn't an issue, his stamina isn't an issue. Look at that output, and he was still going crazy. I mean, he had enough energy to go Super Saiyan, yelling that last like 10-15 seconds, and then launch that kick. So I'm not worried on that front. It's more I want to see him get tested a little bit more like he did against Julian Rosa on the ground, and then see him improve there. Other than that, I think this guy, I'm pretty high on this guy's stock.
Honestly, coming into it, I wasn't as high on Jordan as you were. I mean, yeah, he had a really good fight with Rosa the last time. He knocked him down, but then he got submitted in the third. But Ewell, dude's been in the UFC forever, it seems like. Let me take a look at his Mr. Highlight. Come on, dude, what a nickname. Seems like he's been in the UFC forever. He's another LFA guy there for you, Andrew, so that's pretty cool. I mean, he's been in here since 2018. He's had a bunch of fights. He's lost to Cheeto, fought a bunch of guys, for Julio Arce, Chris Gutierrez, and then obviously lost to Charles Jordan. But he's had a good career. Dude's put up some good fights. He hasn't had any really, like, emphatic losses besides maybe this one where that third round was just 10-8s. But I thought it was interesting. And then, yeah, Jordan is just fun, man. If he can keep this up, I think he's going to get another contract. I think he deserves it. He put up a good fight against, who was it, Arosa.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'd like to see where he goes. Like you said, it's going to be fun to watch him in the future. I don't think he should have a line like he did in this recent fight. I think he was, what, 285, minus 285 coming into this one, something like that. It was crazy.
No. It wasn't that crazy, was it? No, it was like minus,
I see on Tapology.
Minus 190, I think.
No, Tapology has minus 230, but still, like, he was up there. Honestly, I wouldn't put money line on that, but...
Actually, I'm sorry. It was minus 200 because during our previews, when we were talking about the lines, he was minus 200, and we both said that's appropriate. And I thought it was, and like what he did is what I expected him to do. I thought he would have finished him in the second. That was my prediction, and he almost did. But otherwise, like when I saw -200, I actually thought that was like appropriately valued.
I thought it was over in the second. I was impressed. I was impressed for sure. The halfway through the second, and then all the third, I was impressed. And the way he ended it, man, flashbacks of Max Holloway, that was awesome.
Yeah, he went crazy, man. He debuted that new wizard tattoo on his neck or whatever the hell that was, and so 1-0 since the neck tattoo for Jourdain. That's an important stat.
Hey.
We should keep track of.
Looks like he's going in the opposite direction of T. Woodley. Ever since he started rapping, he's been 0-5, 0-6
or something. Yeah. Congrats, Jourdain. Hopefully, Dana and the boys re-up you. Next,
the pride of Canada.
Dude, I honestly don't care at all. Great, Pennington won by choke. Like Thiago mentioned earlier, the only thing I'm going to say about this fight, this was originally scheduled at 135. I don't know what the reason was. They changed it to 145 a few days before the event, I want to say. And Chiasson still misses weight by like 2.5 pounds, I think. I think she came in at 148.5 or something. No, that's unacceptable. Come on. That's really the only thing I cared about on this fight. Pennington did what she, I guess, was expected was going to happen. But other than that, I don't really care. I don't care too much about that. But I mean, you can't miss weight after you're given like an 11-pound grace.
Yeah, I have three. My notes are basically summed up in 3 words. Croissant was meh. So
Croissant was meh. Yeah.
That tells you what I thought of the fight. I mean, I don't even think Pennington won like by being like fantastic or anything. I think just Croissant was garbage. So
you definitely gassed out. And for anyone that's betting, to look at records and bet on someone's record to pick them, you would have lost this fight easily. 8-1 coming into this against 12-9. You see a 12-9, you're like, all right, I'm dumping on the 8-1 or whatever she was coming into this.
Well,
and then it's like back to the she gets just handled.
Well, it goes back to the point about the Angela Hill thing, like on paper sometimes, especially with the women's divisions, on paper it doesn't translate the way you think it would.
Also, another thing to mention, which I think I was telling you, Pusta. So, Croissant misses weight, right? You go from 135, they bump it to 145, you still miss weight. Croissant's last fight was supposed to be against Aspen Ladd at 135, and then that's when Ladd looked like she was about to die on the scales. So the Ladd misses the weight, but like per Ladd, so I could be wrong. Per Ladd, Chiasson could have still accepted the fight, but she said no. And then Chiasson goes ahead and misses weight herself her next fight. Like, come on, dude. Can't do that. You're cut. Out. I don't want to see it. Not sure.
And to Pennington's credit, I mean, like, her record's the way it is, but look at who she's fought.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Nice little 3-fight streak. 3 of 4. She lost to Holly Holm, but beat Irene Aldana. So back-to-back pretty good boxers. And then, before that, lost to Randomly, had a title shot against Nunes, beat Misha Tate, Pech Correa, Jessica Andrade. Yeah, again, so not to take away anything from her, but for me, it's just so frustrating when, you can't make weight, especially when you're given, an additional thing. But yeah, I mean, good for her. I don't know what they do with her, but congratulations. This was hilarious to me, man. I mean, I told you, I'll say what I was telling to you guys yesterday. So, Olivier was talking about Josh Parisian, how he like made changes to his training. He's working on like fast twitch muscle trainings. He's running a lot more. Dude, the dude comes out looking the exact same way he's always looked. So I don't know, like maybe he was doing this shit in like VR or something. I don't know if he was actually doing
Zoom. He was Zoom training.
Yeah, he was Zoom training with Max Holloway, maybe. Comes out, lays an absolute egg. Full credit to Dontel Mays, man. He was scary looking in there. Just completely ragdolling Parisian.
Yeah, dude.
Good, big credit to him.
6'6" monster.
Yeah, big time. I think this was his first camp at Jackson Wink, or if I don't know how long he had been there, but they were saying to him after they said it after the fight. I think they were saying during the fight that those takedowns were a big emphasis. He really wanted to show what he was working on at Jackson Wink, and did he ever, dude? He just was doing whatever the hell he wanted with Parisian.
Which is kind of...
It was a one-sided fight, man. I was impressed.
Check this out. I didn't realize this because I didn't really review the fighter, but he's fought Cyril Gahn, man. Dontel has. I mean, he
Not that
lost.
long ago, 2 years ago. That was probably during the come up of Cyril Gahn.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, you could see he lost twice to sub Nascimento and Gahn.
That may have been
put a lot
why
of
he kind of
emphasis on
wanted to
him.
focus on the takedowns.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Andrew, can you scroll up a little bit? I want to see the record at the top right. Yeah, so he had lost twice by sub. So two of the 4 losses were by sub. So of the 4 losses, 3 finishes, 2 by sub. So yeah, I can maybe understand what he was doing there. Look, man, I mean, do I think he's gonna make noise in the heavyweight division? I honestly don't know. Parisian, look, he won on the Contender Series. I think that's back-to-back losses for Parisian. So not like the craziest of competition there either. But you know, when you're not fighting crazy competition, you should do what he did and then be dominant the way he was. So credit to him, dude. I mean, I like if I see him, you know, next time I see him on there, I want to see, you know, I'm gonna like look forward to seeing him fight just because of how that performance went.
Yeah, honestly, I was impressed. I don't know if you guys remember, but I was messaging. I was like, "Holy crap, this guy's awesome!"
Yeah.
6'6", just beast. What is his name? Kong something.
Lord Kong.
Awesome, man. I'm looking forward to his next fight.
He's not King Kong. He's Lord Kong.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I'm also looking forward to Maze fighting, and to the point on Parisian, I did not expect him to lose like this, man. Like that was bad. That was really bad. Like he didn't even put up a fight, really. So,
yeah, no, he didn't. He couldn't, dude. He threw a couple of spinning
couldn't.
back fists. That was about it.
Yeah.
And then our first fight, Jordan Leavitt versus Matt Sales. Leavitt had just lost his first fight, his last bout, comes back, and then has the 3rd inverted triangle submission in UFC history. I didn't even realize like it was that tight or anything. I don't know what the hell was going on there. And then all of a sudden, you just see it's over. I'm like, oh, all right. I guess it's done.
Yeah, Levitt's a freaking monster, dude. Like he's eccentric, but at the same time, when he gets down to the ground and he starts actually grappling with you, you realize like he has weapons down there. It's just his stand up could be a little bit more improved, but you know.
9 wins, 7 finishes. 6 of those 7 finishes are by sub. So he did what he does.
It makes sense. His ground game is great, and like you said, he's really wonky on the feet. He just wants it to get to the ground eventually, and then.
If his stand-up game gets as good as his split game, this guy's going to be a problem.
And that's kind of what I was going to say. Like, especially you're in the lightweight division, man. Like, you need to have a ground game or a stand-up game. You know, like you need to be able to trade with some of these guys because otherwise, look at who your competition's going to be, man.
Yeah.
Like,
he's still pretty young too, right? Dude's 26.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look at this. Arguably the champion is another super powerful ground fighter, but look at his freaking stand-up game. Like I did not expect Oliveira to have the kind of stand-up game that he has now, and so I think you work on that a bit as Leavitt. You could potentially start moving up this ladder over here.
Slow and steady, maybe so. Congrats to him. He got a performance. No, he didn't get it. I was thinking he should get a performance of the night, but he didn't get one. The performance of the nights were Cub and was it Pennington? No, it was Cub and Gatto. Those were the 2 people that got performance of the night and then fight of the night.
I mean, after scissor kick slapping his balls on the mat after the fight, I don't think they're gonna give him a bonus for that.
Yeah, that was Vegas 45. Last event of the year. We got nothing now until January something. I think it's like almost a month.
15.
It's going to be Cater versus Giga, so a nice main event to come back to.
Yeah.
Another phenomenal year for the UFC. I mean, breaking records left and right. A good event to end it on. I mean, again, 10 of 13 fights went to finish. So
Brian Keller
we start with Cater and Chikadze, and then we go to Anaheim for Gahn versus Ngannou to unify the heavyweight championship.
There's going to be some fun fights on this card.
On the Cater card? Or the card?
No, on the cater card. I mean, obviously the main is gonna what I'm looking forward to the most to see what Giga does against a brick house.
Yeah, I don't think UFC really has it too updated. I've seen it more updated
Oh,
elsewhere.
so
But,
ESPN will
probably not.
ESPN will
Yeah,
be more
I mean,
updated.
you got Joaquin Buckley versus Abdul Razak Al Hassan.
Yeah, that
Jay
one.
Sherman.
That's one of those where you expect shouldn't go the distance, but sometimes those just for whatever reason go the distance. But that one,
You got Brian
two scary
Kelleher,
dudes
Brandon
with a lot of
Royval.
power.
Kaylin Chikagan, she's got that weird stance. I mean, that's a women's MMA fight.
She's annoying. Hit every time she throws.
Yeah.
So infuriating.
Barcelos is on that card. TJ Brown, Dakota Bush. This is some good fights. Jamie Pickett,
Yeah, so it's not quite
not bad.
updated yet. I think there's more fights announced, if I'm not mistaken. I think I've seen more announced. It's just
They
full
just
No.
haven't.
not fully.
They
Yeah.
just haven't filled it in. Got it.
Any
Yeah,
last notes for you
Topology.
guys on Fit 45? Or looking forward to Cater, Chikadze, or any of the early ones in January?
I
Who's the
mean,
go?
Gone versus Ngannou.
Yep.
Moreno,
So,
Figueiredo 3.
Yeah,
I was
that
overall
one's
happy
also
with this.
not to be
I
overlooked.
was overall happy with this card. You know, I think most of the fights that I had a problem with are the ones that you had a problem with as well. And then, excuse me, guys. Damn, that got stuck. And yeah, like I'm also looking forward to Gon and Ngannou, man. That's gonna be
About to
ridiculous.
throw up on Cam.
I had a night.
No,
just like-
If
just
you
like
can't
Andrew said.
tell, I had a night.
Well, just like Andrew said, that was a fun card. There weren't that many big names, right? Especially in the early prelims or prelims. But dude, they were ending KOs, subs. We had some fun, you know what I mean? Like, not, if
Yeah.
every fight went to decision, okay, and they're boring stand-up ground games, just rolling around, whatever. That's a boring card. But I thought this was like a B minus card. You had a nice finish, right? You had Derrick Lewis still staying in the top of the rankings. Dawkins trying to climb his way somewhere. Had some fun finish with Cub Swanson. That was awesome.
Oh yeah.
Gamrot.
Yep. Overall, again, good on all these boys and women, I should say. Good ending to the year. Looking forward to so until the next one, we'll have some other stuff that we'll put out. Covering some like hypothetical matchups that have been thrown out, like the like Diaz and Poirier, Colby and Hamzat, stuff like that. We'll probably discuss things like that and other miscellaneous things. Throw in some shorts. I don't know. We might mess around with some other lives. We'll see.
Yeah. We're looking at the news, what fights are being signed. Hopefully, Colby and Hamza. Honestly, that's one of my
Well, yeah,
favorites
that's what
going
I'm
on.
looking forward to
I
most
would
of all
love
the
to see that,
speculative
man.
ones.
If he can handle Colby, he's the real deal. Give him Usman right after that.
Immediate title shot. Yeah,
I mean, why not? If he can finish him, it'll be early.
Yeah, I mean, if you beat the guy that's given him the most challenges so far, I think a case could be made there.
Yeah. All right,
guys. Good run for 21.
Yeah.
We'll see
Happy
what
New
we
Year,
do.
everybody. We don't see you, but we probably will. But if we don't,
Bye.
Let's hope for a better 2022.
Yeah,
That was a good year.
It's a big one to top, but I think it's looking good so far.
Very
Conor
hard.
versus Poirier 4 is what I'm looking forward to.
If they can get a Conor Poirier 4 and 5 in 2022, that's all I want.
Conor versus Dr. Stoppage 2022.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, boys.
All right, guys.
Belal title shot 2022. Yeah, absolutely not. But thank you. Thank you for throwing that in, Chris. We'll watch that happen.